Good morning, everyone in the building. World Combat Sports, back with another one. And you know what it is? The big topic of discussion is Aerospence, Terence Crawford. Once again, the topic is hit the airwaves and it's floating around with no real value to it. First of all, I want to salute, say good morning to everyone. Good afternoon, rather, to everyone in the live chat. Support World Combat Sports. Salute to you. What's good? Well, there's been news of Aerospence basically coming out and saying that, 60-40 is fair. And I want to read what he said right quick. And I'm going to get y'all opinion on what he's talking about. He spoke to the Athletic Box on the potential Terence Crawford fight. I definitely should get the biggest share. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say what Bob Arum said recently. But proof is in the pudding. Who's the bigger draw? He's a great fighter, but I feel like 60-40, that's the right price. And once again, this is Errol Spence, Mr. Get a Belt. Mr. Get a Belt, right? I'm not going to say what Bob Arum said recently, but proof is in the pudding. Who's the bigger draw? He's a great fighter, but I feel like 60-40, that's the right price. This is exactly my point when fighters procrastinate and end up failing them badly. Errol Spence, at one point in time, okay, we always want to say he's the boogeyman and so forth and give him all these accolades. And, they want to put him on top pound for pound. I'm going to tell you like this. He's not talking that pound for pound talk with me. I'm not hearing that pound for pound talk. 26-0, 21 knockouts. I'm not hearing that pound for pound talk if you want to sit up here and compare what a promoter said about his fighter. Who in their right mind would sit up here and co-sign this cat for what he said? I mean, haven't we been talking about this fight for the last couple of years? I mean, don't we hear all the time that, hey, the best fight the best? Sometimes you just have to settle for, not make it about money and just settle for the fight if you really want the crowns to go with your legacy. And right now, Errol Spence has made it perfectly clear that his focus is to unify the entire welterweight division. And that's what Errol Spence mentioned. His goal is to unify the entire welterweight division. So why would he come in here and caveat or basically link up with Bob Arum's word recently when this conversation has already been in the works? It's already been active talking points on YouTube. Errol Spence, Terence Crawford meeting in public, teasing the fans as if this fight was going to come to fruition. It never materialized. Then, a situation that broke out between the two on social media. And then Crawford said, okay, we talked over FaceTime or whatever. We're going to make the fight happen. After Errol Spence had mentioned, say, hey, this fight's not going to be made online. Well, it seems like it's not going to be made, period, when it comes to Spence. It doesn't seem like this fight is any closer than it was before the first time they met in public when Bob Arum was right there. When Bob Arum was standing right there. Was Bob Arum's words the same? Did they have the same energy when he was standing right there in that circle? When Terence Crawford and Errol Spence was going back and forth and they was just talking trash to one another? Was he there? He was there, right? So he pretty much understands how important this fight is. And I have to hold Bob Arum accountable for having a loose tongue too. You know what I'm saying? For speaking reckless, for not supporting a fighter in which I believe he's basically casted out. He's pretty much banished Terence Crawford from his priority list. Now that he feels like Terence Crawford or understands that Terence Crawford may indeed relocate from Top Rank promotional banner. So he might feel like, you know what, send him on about his way. But Bob Arum has to understand it's smart monetarily that he can make a lot of money off Aerospence and Terence Crawford. But if he's doing nothing behind the scenes, to make this fight happen, then guess what? It's not going to happen. If he feels that he's not going to get a slice of the monetary pie, then he's going to start putting those deterrents out there. He's going to discourage the fans. All that prefix that deals with deterring something from happening. That seems like what Bob Arum's agenda is. If Terence Crawford is not going to stay with him to make this fight, because this is a big fight, y'all. This is a huge fight. Alexander in the building, salute to you, bro. This is a huge fight. This has the potential to do great numbers up in the top 5 of PPV fights grossing ever. I believe that if it's made in the right time. If it's made in the right time. So Terence Crawford, 37 victories, 0 defeats, 28 knockouts. We all know the recent story of him, stepping in there with Kell Brook, right? So he recently said in an article, right? I repeat, Terence Crawford is saying that he doesn't need a fight against highly popular 2-belt welterweight champion Errol, the true Spence, for his legacy. And that Spence is the one that needs him. Spence is the one that needs Crawford. That's what Crawford said. Now, of course, people say, Crawford has things twisted in his head, not really realizing that the IBF WBC welterweight champ Spence, 26-0 and 21 knockout, is the PPV attraction. Terrence's 2 attempts at fighting on PPV against Victor Postal and Amir Khan bombed badly. So let's talk about the Amir Khan. It's nothing that Terence Crawford did wrong. I was at the fight. You know what I'm saying? I have to say that, Amir Khan having a name, Terence Crawford, there's culpability that can be placed in the lap of Crawford too. But in this particular fight with Amir Khan, he quit. He quit. He didn't want to go further. You know what I'm saying? He claimed he got hit in the nuts with a master blaster, and the motherfucker couldn't stand up. He quit that night. It was disappointing. Amir Khan diminished and sabotaged that fucking fight by quitting. Amir Khan quit against Terence Crawford. But Terence Crawford's culpability comes into play with him not promoting himself properly. You know what I'm saying? A very minimal promotion or very minimal socializing when it comes to the media for Terence Crawford. That's who he is as a person. But I would say this, that shouldn't be the point and for which he carries himself when it comes to boxing media. Because it's times like this where he should have been proactive enough and said, I need to do more to promote my brand if I want to make this fight with Spence happen. Moving on. Let's talk about Crawford's resume, right? Some of the bigger names is on it. Okay, of course he fought Gamboa. You know what I'm saying? Victor Postal, Amir Khan, Kavalauskas, Jeff Horn to pick up the WBO title welterweight. Ricky Burns. Errol has a fight coming up with Danny Garcia, who's coming off a win versus Adrian Granados, right? Which we're not going to put Adrian Granados into the frame as if he was a big deal. Like, what I'm saying? Like Danny Garcia walked up in that fight feeling he was going to have trouble. It's not even the anticipation like we see with Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. You know, this fight, a lot of people going for Danny Garcia, a lot of going for Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how it goes. But when Spence fought Sean Porter, it did 300K. And I think it did 300K for Mikey Garcia too. So, okay, we have an average now for Spence. And you also have to factor in where those fights, what arena those fights went down. Where did these fights take place? All right. Can we say the same about Crawford? Will we like to see these fights in Omaha? Absolutely not. It won't happen. But in Texas, it kind of radiates that aura that you're looking for in boxing, and it's did fairly well, you know? So, you know, he has an average there. He has an average of 300K, which is good. But when it comes to Bob Arum, it just seems like his recent words on the fight where Terence Crawford stopped Kell Brook. It seemed like Bob Arum seized the opportunity to basically put a cap on Terence Crawford's value as a fighter. He took that opportunity to use his platform to denigrate him. And for a promoter to get up here and say some shit like, I lost so much money on him, I could purchase a home in Beverly Hills. Do you actually believe you're going to keep a fighter close to you to potentially put millions in your pocket? If you're going to go on national TV and have choice words for one of the bigger names on your promotion, do you believe that's going to bring you closer? You believe that's going to bring him closer to you to kind of change his mind and say, okay, I want to stay at home, you know, where I'm at right now, so I can try to make this fight with Spence? Because what it did was allow Spence to find something that's nutritional for him to digest and regurgitate in the media. And that was, I'm not going to repeat what Bob Arum said. So you don't have to repeat what Bob Arum said because it's still fresh. You know what I'm saying? It's still fresh. It's floating around on the surface like oil residue. Because it was fucked up what he did when us, the boxing fans, are trying to get this fight with Crawford Spence. We're trying to get this fight. And for Crawford to come off a dominating victory over Kell Brook, why would you use your platform to speak negatively about one of the top names in your promotion that potentially is en route to abort mission to make the biggest fight? Not only did Bob Arum put a halt to Terence Crawford's momentum once again, but Errol Spence, once again, Errol Spence has did exactly the same thing. Sir Ken in the building. What's good? Errol Spence has did the exact same thing, man. Why? You know, y'all need to be up in arms about this shit because Errol Spence is out here playing people. Him sitting up here making a fight like this about money is Duck Masters Coalition. He even said it when they was face to face. What did he say? Why wouldn't I take the easier route in Sean Porter? So now he see the performance with Terence Crawford, right? And to be honest, some people would have looked at Terence Crawford getting touched up early in the rounds and said, you know what, this is what I want. I want this. Hell yeah, I want this. He didn't look all that spectacular. He stopped Kell Brook, but of course, you know, Terence gonna say, well, on the flip side of Gennady Golovkin's performance, I did the same thing. I busted him up too. I touched him up. So you got my damaged goods, what people love to use with Kell Brook. You got my damaged goods, bro. But my disappointment keeps growing for Aerospence. His record, his resume is not that impeccable. His resume is not that impeccable, y'all. Look, just in 2018, I attended a fight. Errol Spence, Beezy on deck, Yellow Beezy on deck, you know, Jerry Jones. He's trying to build up. This was the inception of his presence in Texas. With Jerry Jones freaking co-signing for him. You know what I'm saying? This was the bigger stage for him. The Ford Center at Frisco. He went in there and knocked out Carlos Ocampo in one round after Carlos Ocampo had, touched him up with a two-punch combination. He went on to finish that. Carlos Ocampo dropped, crumbled to the canvas, and the fight was over. Where did Ocampo come into the frame anyway as the mandatory for Crawford? Who was that guy? Who was he? He was undefeated, but who was he? Absolutely no one that is considered a legitimate, credible opponent when it comes to Errol Spence. Nowhere even close. Now let's move to Mikey Garcia. As much as I don't like wasting time on Mikey Garcia coming up here, but I do have to factor in that Mikey Garcia said he's seen something. What was that? What was that, Mikey Garcia? What did you see? Mikey Garcia said he sees something. What he's seen, I don't know what did he have on beer gargles or what, but Mikey Garcia must have been, he had glaucoma, cataracts. There was something that was impairing his vision to believe that he was going to go over here and shock the world. 39-0. 39-0. I have to give Errol Spence partial credit. I mean, I got to give him quarter credit for Mikey Garcia. That's an O on his record, right? A legitimate O on his record. That's the first legitimate O on his record. Forget Carlos Ocampo. Forget him. He wasn't there to fight. Garcia moved up 2-weight class, but we got to give him quarter credit because he was, that was his first fight at 47. Let's be honest. Like I said, I'm not taking too much time on Garcia because he survived the entire 12 rounds and that was his claim. And now he's trying to get a bigger fight after defeating Jesse Vargas. Sean Porter, arguably the biggest name on Errol Spence's resume right now. Period. Two-time welterweight world champion. Two-time. Now, the only blemish is, the defeats is on his Sean Porter record from Kell Brook and Keith Thurman. All right. So, therefore, we have to look at Sean Porter as being the biggest name on Errol Spence's record. So, why is it when we come to this thumbnail that no one else, I wouldn't say no one else, I'm speaking generalizing, that no one wants to castigate Errol Spence action right now for talking this 60-40 bullshit? Look at your resume, man. You're trying to say that the primary division that you've competed in majority of your career on your fourth fight, because your first three was at 54, super welterweight, and then you dropped down to 47. So the primary division that you've campaigned at majority of your boxing career, has brought you to this point where you haven't even picked up another championship in your life, in your professional life. You're 30 years old and you're sitting up here negotiating a 60-40 in one single division where you can potentially say, you know what, let me get this belt. If you feel good about yourself, let me get this belt. You're still going to make money. Real talk. Aerospence is still going to make a pretty good damn check. It's going to be heavy enough for him to be satisfied. But what I can't respect is the continuing language of Errol Spence putting deterrence up there, telling people to get a belt. You know what I'm saying? Get a belt. Who have you fought? Now he want to put Bob Arum's word in there that just happened recently. If Bob Arum would have kept his mouth shut, then what the hell Errol Spence would have had to validate? What he would have had. You're putting words up there that are still fresh in the media, and you're using it to basically prove your point that your fight should be 60-40 with Terence Crawford. He just mentioned this not too long ago, coming off that Terence Crawford Kell Brook. So if Bob Arum would have remained quiet and complimented Terence Crawford from his win, and then attempted to build up the Crawford Spence fight, what would have been Spence's narrative then? What banter could you have brought to the boxing fans during the interviews that could have convinced us that you should be 60-40 heading into a negotiation or a potential future fight with Terence Crawford? I want to know, Spence, because I'm exhausted. I'm a bit exhausted with you pretending, because no one can say that Spence is a boogeyman right now. Boogeyman, even though the boogeyman don't talk that much, it's usually from their actions. But Crawford is a 3-division champion, undisputed. His body of work in general, his body of work should be more respected heading into this fight with Spence, because these two matching up will make both of them money. Both of these fighters stepping into the ring will make both of them money at a 50-50 split. You're going to be so anal retentive. You're going to say, guess what? I'm going to be petty about it. I haven't even unified a single division yet. So I'm going to be petty when it comes to Crawford. So guess what, people? Y'all should hold Spence accountable for the bullshit, man. Absolutely. Y'all should hold Spence absolutely accountable because he's not living up to the truth. His name is the truth. He's not living up to the truth. And I'm beginning to think he can't handle the truth. You can't. No, I'm not even going to go there. You can't handle the truth, man. You haven't even came close to the body of work of Terence Crawford, but yet you want to sit up here and make a big deal on a 50-50 split where you've only competed in a single division, and you're damn near. Look, he's damn near close to the age of Crawford. You're not in your 20s anymore. I mean, we're not thinking about the logical part of it. Like, he's only 3 years younger than Terence Crawford right now. But Terence Crawford started boxing before Errol Spence. Terence Crawford started boxing in 2008, of course. And I believe Errol Spence started in 2012. But age-wise, if Terence Crawford did what he did since the inception of his career, and he's amassed a 37-0 record with 28 KOs, and now you have Errol Spence who first fight was 2012, and he's 30 years old. He's 30 years old. He should be on like a fast track to say, at this point in life, I got to prove to the people for my legacy. Aerospence don't have a freaking legacy right now. Who is his legacy? Sean Porter? You trying to tell me a 3-division champion, former undisputed, is a lower level legacy than Errol Spence Jr. right now? Errol is 26-0, 21 knockouts, and he's about to step in there against Danny Garcia, who has a superb resume, a nice lineup of work. It's not like Danny Garcia is undefeated. He only has 2 losses. And then a lot of people believe that those decisions could have went in favor of Danny Garcia, but they did not. But he's still respected enough for him to get a fight with Errol Spence after coming off a loss and then a win. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to this. You're trying to catch up. And when Terence Crawford say you need him more than he needs you, he is correct. He is correct. Because who else is going to provide you the R factor to step in there for a PPV fight? Tell me somebody else in the freaking welterweight division is going to provide you that R factor. Who's going to give you that value that you're looking for, that equal value? So you're going to take the only name that's in the welterweight division right now. I don't want to hear shit about Keith Thurman. I don't want to hear nothing else about Sean Porter right now. Who else in the welterweight division at this point in time is going to give you that equal value to set up a PPV fight, which everybody wants to see? Everybody wants to see Crawford Spence, Crawford Spence, Crawford Spence. That is the repetitive remediation when it comes to the banter in the boxing community. We want to see Crawford Spence. I'm unwilling to prognosticate that Danny Garcia will go in there and upset Spence. But if it happens, then it only proves that Danny Garcia moment to shine was on the right night. You know what I'm saying? Because he said himself that he didn't do enough to get the victory in those two fights, you know, in some of the bigger fights he stepped in there with. So if he's to go in there and defeat Errol Spence, kudos to him. But it's expected of Errol Spence to go in there and defeat Danny Garcia. Seriously, it's expected. It's expected for Errol Spence, even after the car accident. People are still placing, you know, in their mental mirror, right? They're still visualizing the fight he had with Sean Porter. Major Key Boxing in the building. What's good, man? They're still visualizing that. But we as boxing media and the mouthpiece that cover, you know, these combat sports on a daily basis, we need to hold accountable. We need to brush over the favoritism on who we like the most and who's more popular, and we need to call it for what it is. Because when it comes down to this fight right here, the attraction, the magnet is for both fighters when it comes to the boxing community wanting to see these two fight. I think wholeheartedly the Wall Street of both fighters are warranted for a 50-50 fight. You want to talk about the performance that Terence Crawford had over Kell Brook, and that's what he's supposed to do? Okay, he did it. He did it in shorter fashion than Aerospence too. And you can say what you like. I understand people are going to say that, you know, Kell Brook was damaged. But guess what? Kell Brook had 3 fights at 54 prior to stepping at 47 again for Terence Crawford. So let's not hear the bullshit. I don't have time to hear it. But what we can address, if you're looking at my thumbnail, is that I'm beginning to think that Aerospence is part of the Duck Masters Coalition. Matter of fact, he might be one of the presidents. He don't seem like he's trying to make this freaking fight. And it's doing, the fight fans a disservice because Errol Spence, man, he does have a big name, but you're having fights on your home soil, right? And you're building up the fan base there for people to come out and see you fight, which is great. I commend him for that. But if you win this fight with Danny Garcia, the fight fans are demanding that you and Crawford fight one another. Now, the bigger price tag is if Terence Crawford can pick up the WBA title. Because if he doesn't, and Errol Spence defeats Danny Garcia, then guess what? Danny Garcia may potentially be able to step in there with Manny Pacquiao. So if indeed that happens, I believe Errol Spence will defeat. I know for a fact he will, right? He picks up 3 belts. Then the narrative may change for this fight. You have a man with the WBC, IBF, and the WBA title heading into a welterweight unification bout with Terence Crawford at WBO. Now the narrative may change and say, okay, 60-40. Is it warranted because Errol Spence is a unified champion in the current division, which Crawford is the WBO champion? Will the negotiation process even come to the table? I can see how Errol Spence may, kind of stir that momentum and say, look at how many belts I got by what you have. And then Terence Crawford turn around and say, look how many divisions I have, formerly undisputed, than you will ever have. Because no way, believe me, it's no way, people, Errol Spence, before he retires, will be able to amass the accomplishments of Terence Crawford. He can't even get through the welterweight division right now. It seems like he's waiting for Terence Crawford to potentially lose the belt or whatever the case. The people want to talk about Terence Crawford fighting this name and that name. What about the name that's in the Duck Masters Coalition right now? He don't have a sense of urgency to fight Terence Crawford like he does Danny Garcia. I don't hear it in his tone. Bob Arum just made those words, right? He just said that about Crawford. But Errol Spence is gonna tell a freaking a media platform that the proof is in the pudding. What the fuck are you talking about? The proof is in the pudding. Like I said before, what if Bob Arum wouldn't even stir the pot and came negative like that? What would you have used to validate your 60-40 split from fighting a dude that the boxing community is waiting on and they're tired? We're tired of hearing about Spence Crawford. Real talk, we tired. So you know what happened when people get tired of hearing, and getting, all the anticipation building up? They say, hey, you know what? When 2021 comes around, let's see what happens. Okay, we get to mid-year, right? June, July. We already know the winner of Spence. Let's just say Spence defeats Danny Garcia. So if we basically frolic over to 2021, in the first semester of 2021, we're not hearing Spence Crawford fight come any closer. We don't hear any type of closure to this coming official. As boxing fans, they will turn a blind fucking eye and ear to it. They would say, you know what? I'm done with this shit. I'm done speaking about it. It's not even worth my time anymore. But what I hope is people don't look at this as saying, you know what? It's Crawford's fault. Crawford wants to fight. But people up here trying to treat him like he's the freaking black sheep of boxing. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, they're treating the man like he's the black sheep with a record that he has and the fight he just came off of, where some people believing that Kell Brook had a chance. I don't understand why more people are not pushing to hold Errol Spence, which he called himself the truth, accountable for the biggest fight of his career. You got to hold him accountable for not trying to make the biggest fight of his career. Because he said plenty of times when it came down to him and Crawford, when they had that online spat, they was verbal sparring back and forth on social media. He said, we'll make the fight. And Crawford came up and said, yeah, Spence a good dude. He'll make the fight. Now, Spence is kind of taking the same aura as Bob Errol. Because Spence is the one that said, we'll make the fight. And Crawford's like, you know what, Spence a good dude. We talked it out. We're going to make the fight. Now that he's about to head in there with Danny Garcia, his mentality has changed. He's now trying to pull in the words of Bob Arum to justify the 60-40 split. Just stand on your own square, bro. Just stand on your own square, Spence. You don't need anybody else's help. Just stand on your own square and say, this is what I believe should be 60-40. But, hey, we're going to get with Terence Crawford and them, and we're going to see, and we're going to do everything possible to make this shit happen. That's respectable for me. In my honest opinion, that is expected. Look, that is respectable to me if he does that. This is such a grand fight to make for boxing. But the language, in my opinion, is not where, it's something that's, I feel good about. Like, I would definitely like this for Spence at this point, at his age, being 30 years old and trying to lock in the biggest fight of his career. All I want to hear is him saying, you know what, I'm going to do everything possible to try to make this fight with Crawford. Because, all I hear is people, finding an easy target to zoom in with Crawford and find all the discrepancies and everything. The man is a 3-division champion, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, man, he's knocked out who he's supposed to knock out, period. Conor Local Sports in the building. Salute to you, man. He's knocked out and finished who he's supposed to knock out. He has like 6 O's, 6 opponents on his record who's undefeated. And of course, I always look at the quality, okay? The QOS, or in this sequence, the QOP. Quality opposition. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna sit up here and negate your Yorkis Gamboa, who was undefeated when he faced Terence Crawford. And I hear a lot of people say, oh, Gamboa was coming off a year layoff. Guess what? In 2013, he fought once, Gamboa, and he won. And guess what? In 2012, he fought once and he won. So when people want to diminish or devalue Gamboa stepping in there with Crawford after being off a year, they should say the same thing about his recent fight with Devin Haney too, because he was close to a year too. He was coming in there off a fight in December of 2019, and it was close. It was right up on the doorstep of a year, which would have taken place in December. So 11 months, so to speak. So you look at my thumbnail, I truly believe that Spence should do more to make this fight happen, period. Because it's one of those fights that boxing needs to see. I really don't want these two to come back around when they're in an antiquated competitive state. They way past the point for which we was looking for. You know what I'm saying? We was looking for this fight to happen early. And now, you know, it comes to a point where it's way past that. Kind of local in the building. What's good with you, bro?
What's good, man? What's good? I missed the first half, so I don't know where your stand is on this, man. So kind of want to wait till you break it down a little bit to me, man, before I can put my input in it. I don't want to talk at a turn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just basically went over on the point that Terence Crawford, you know, coming off his win over Kell Brook, right? Put that aside and look at the word that's been out on the streets that he's planning on leaving Top Rank. With that in mind, Terence Crawford value to the public, in a sense, Bob Arum tried to diminish that. And I believe he did in a sense. But when it comes to him potentially getting a fight with Errol Spence, I just didn't appreciate what Errol Spence said, that he took Bob Arum's word and say, did you hear? I'm not going to repeat what Bob Arum said, but the proof is in the pudding. So I'm saying to myself, for Errol Spence, he's trying to push a 60-40 fight between him and Terence Crawford. Why use Bob Arum's word that is extremely fresh off a win of Terence Crawford to validate your point of a 60-40 fight? You can give me your take on it. Do you believe that Errol Spence, being that he's the IBF and the WBC champion, going in there with Danny Garcia, does he have a valid point?
Well, I don't think he should have used anything Bob Arum said. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't use that as ammunition. That's first of all. Second of all, he's got to fight Danny first. I don't know why he would even be worried about Crawford until he gets this fight with Danny Garcia out of the way. Now, as far as if he's worth 60-40, I honestly believe, being completely unbiased, that he is the A side, and he should ask for 60-40 simply because he's the unified champion, and he does, whether we agree or not, he does sell more. He is more. He's gonna bring in the revenue more than Crawford will. That's not to take away from Crawford. He is, you know, he came from 135, did his thing at 140, and now, you know, he's a champion, a WBO champion at 147. We get that, but as far as numbers go, I think he does deserve the 60-40.
Off a single division, I'm just trying to understand what weight is he holding. You know, okay, does Terence Crawford 3 divisions in professional boxing, does it hold any weight to a division which is his 3rd division, and his first fight he picked up the WBO strap? So his other divisions unified at that. It doesn't hold any weight, as if this is like a fresh start. When it comes to the negotiation process, this is like a fresh start.
It holds a little weight, but we got to be realistic, Scotty. You know that when you go into a fight, the guy that sells more, like let's use Tank for example, man. He's always, you know, he's gonna get paid because he always draws the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Skill for skill, I think they're pretty even. So it's not about that. I just think that Spence is a bigger draw, and at this point, you know, he does. If there was to fight right now, yeah, I think he does deserve the 60-40. But I do get the argument that he was unified, you know, undisputed at 140. I get it, but look at his numbers, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers. He's averaged 300K with equal opponents who also have names. Now I can't compare those numbers to those opposition that he's been in there with. Mikey Garcia, 4 division champion, right? And then he was in there with Sean Porter, who also is an equally top tier name in the division. You know, Mikey Garcia, he had his brand, you know, for division. Then you had Sean Porter, who did very well at welterweight. So Errol Spence need a dance partner for those numbers, in my opinion. He needs a dance partner, and this is another dance partner that's coming up. Danny Garcia is another quality dance partner, and then so with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford will be another dance partner.
No, definitely. But goes both ways. Crawford needs a dance partner as well.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. But I'm trying to speak on you saying that Aerospence is the bigger draw, which he has. He's averaged to 300K, right? But he has to do that with the proper dance partner. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he has to have the right opponent across the ring from him for that to happen. And plus the location.
Well, if they do it at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, what do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely, it's gonna do damn good numbers.
Then he should be favoring Spence for the numbers, right?
Correct. But I just, the way I look at it, I guess I magnify the point of when it comes to boxing in general. Terence Crawford has did more than Spence up to this point. I understand where you're coming from. Absolutely, man. Where the fight is going to be held at, Spence being the unified champion. Let me ask you this. What if Terence Crawford is able to fight Manny Pacquiao and pick up another strap? Does he deserve, in your eyes, does it bring him closer to a 50-50 split?
Without a question, it'd be 50-50 then. Okay. There's no debating then,
Okay.
I mean, two belts against two belts, you have to agree it's 50-50.
The reason why I was asking, because I asked people that, and they say the same thing. So, okay, if he pick up another belt, then it's 50-50. But without the other belt, they say that that Errol Spence is the bigger draw. Errol Spence is still the bigger draw in many people's eyes, regardless of Terence Crawford getting a second belt. What changes? What changes?
Well, listen. Because first of all, man, let's be honest, Scotty. I don't know what your point is on it, but if he fights Manny Pacquiao, you don't think all eyes are going to be on him then? I think it's going to elevate it to the point where they got to make it 50-50. He's going to be, bro, them eyes are going to be all over Crawford then if he fights Pacquiao.
Correct, but his numbers doesn't add up to Spence. As far as Spence has an average that's out there right now, 300K, right?
If he fights Pacquiao, they'll even out. I really believe that.
Correct. So all I'm saying is, if by chance he fight Manny Pacquiao, he's able to register some pretty solid numbers. Still, they're saying most of what people are saying is that Errol Spence is the draw. Errol Spence is the draw. You know what I'm saying? He's bringing in more fans. But then when it comes to Terence Crawford picking up the WBA strap, now it becomes a 50-50 without the draw potential. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not going to have it.
I think if he beats Pacquiao, there will be a draw, though. That's what I'm saying. I think he'll have the draw then.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, even though we speaking, we prognosticating this, we thinking ahead of time. But I agree. It's going to do damn good numbers because the Filipino fans support their fighters. And that'll be a nice dance partner for Crawford to kind of register some numbers to strengthen his negotiation process with Spence. I agree with that.
He fights Pacquiao, the whole world is going to know who Crawford is. Now, we in the States know who he is, but let's be honest, a lot of people around the world don't. It's a shame because I hate that happens to boxers in boxing, but it happens, and I think that if he fights Pacquiao, the whole world would know him then. And that will make his negotiation case a lot stronger then. You understand what I'm saying, Scotty?
I hear what you're saying, man. I totally understand what you're saying. I was just looking at it in the sense that I believe that people know Terence Crawford just as equal as Errol Spence.
I don't think right now at the moment they equally know him. I don't believe that. I think Spence is more known. He's got more things going on with him, especially since the accident too, man. All eyes are on him now. Yeah, off of something he didn't even do in the ring, but now he's got more eyes on him. You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah,
he does need to. I don't think Pacquiao is actually going to even fight Crawford, but if he does, yes, I think it'll be 50-50 then. But right now, as it stands, I don't think it's 50-50. I think Spence is in his valid right to ask for 60-40. Of course, that could be negotiated. I mean, they're talking out in the public like that, but I'm sure, 55-45, they can always wiggle around that and make something happen. So I think it's just a lot of talk right now on the outside, but I think in the background, they'll eventually come to something.
It just seems to me that Errol Spence is not really trying to enhance the anticipation from the fight fans when he talks about one of the biggest fights of his career in Terence Crawford. He's not trying to sit up here and provide the fight fans with hope. You know, he's getting up here latching on to Bob Arum's words, and he's really not trying to build the fight up. We seen them meet in public. Bob Arum was right there, and we kind of had hope that the fight would materialize sometime, you know, in the near future. It hasn't happened. And then they go on social media. They have like a verbal spat back and forth. You know, Terence Crawford kind of goes in on Aerospence. And so Aerospence, you know, in the end, he said that, hey, man, we're not going to make the fight on social media. They talked it out. And then Terence Crawford said, okay, Aerospence a good dude. We haven't heard too much after that until now. You know what I'm saying? And for Bob Arum to diminish Terence Crawford's victory over Kell Brook, and then for Aerospence to come out here and latch on to Bob Arum's word to further diminish Terence Crawford's value, I think it was BS, in my opinion, for Spence. You know, what are you trying to do? You think you don't need to fight? You say you ain't moving up until you unify the welterweight division. How is this going to bring the fans closer?
I don't know. First, he's got to get past Garcia. But if he does, I actually believe he's a front runner to get the Pacquiao fight before Crawford. I hate to say it.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, hey, I agree with that. Of course, because Pacquiao, you know, he's looking for the paycheck. For real. Pacquiao's 42 years old. He's not trying to go on a long, extensive reign on the back end of his career. So, of course, if they want to make that fight with Spence, I believe it's going to do, I mean, come on, that should have do higher numbers than than Spence ever did in his career if he gets the Pacquiao fight.
I think Crawford, man, I think, in my opinion, made a mistake when he first moved up. Because when he first moved up, he was undisputed, and he had the pick of the litter right then and there. He could have forced the fight right then and there, and they chose to go Jeff Horn. That right there didn't sit too good with not just me, but a lot of people. He could have been the mandatory to Spence right then and there if he wanted it. If he wanted it right then and there. That's I don't know, man. That would have been the easiest way to get him right then and there, right off the bat. Bam.
Did Spence have the IBF title when Crawford first stepped up?
Correct. Yes.
So if he had the IBF title and he's undefeated right now, you think Spence would have been welcoming to face a tough opponent like Terence Crawford at that point in time?
He wouldn't have had a choice. It's the mandatory. When you're undisputed on the weight class and you move up, you can choose any of the champions on the weight class above you and become their mandatory immediately. He would have either had to fight him or vacate it.
Well, I guess with Terence Crawford, they felt that they value in the welterweight division, being that it was a debut, would be better off if they faced Jeff Horn. But we all know that hasn't been the case since he picked up the WBO title. Right. You know, people give him limited credit, for defeating Jeff Horn and stopping him. Okay, but Jeff Horn was coming off a win for Pacquiao. Wherever people want to give him credit for that, but. Hey man, we'll see what's popping because I'm just hearing too much deterrent from Errol Spence in this fight. I really want to see this fight between these two. It's a big, big fight, and I think it'll do good numbers.
Major Key Boxing. Spence told him to get a strap first, though. That was after he had already. He could have got that mandatory if he wanted it. I don't know how else to explain it, Scotty. I don't know if you can help me, but. It's in the rules. If you're a champion, you don't even have to be undisputed. But if you're a champ, let's say Crawford would have only been the IBF champion. If he moved up, he could have became the immediate mandatory for the IBF champion at 147. In this case, it was Spence. He didn't choose to go that route for whatever reason. I actually I don't know, man. Like I think. Look, man, he had just first moved up to 147, so I don't think I have that big of a problem with him going to Jeff Horn because he got to test the waters at 147. But at the same time, right. that was an opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. That Connell, like, just say he would have went the route for Errol Spence and he didn't get the shot. He's over there, fumbling around. I mean, he still is without a belt and he's moving up to 147. The whole purpose for them is to get a third division under their belt. So I guess Team Crawford felt that, let's build up the credential with one more division. Let's get this strap. And then we'll have better negotiation power when it comes across the board to facing some of these guys. But that hasn't been the case there, Connor. We know that. That hasn't been the case. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It seems like Spence get further and further away. And that's a good point for Major Key. You know what I'm saying? But
No, I mean, those are facts. He did say that. I understand he said it and stuff like that. But like I said, he could have became the immediate mandatory. Uh, man, we gotta wait, man. I mean, I know this is boxing talk, man, but at the end of the day, we gotta see what happens between him and Danny before we even think about getting this fight, right?
absolutely, absolutely. But it's like when it comes to media, you know how we talk about fights that's outside of fights. And Danny Garcia is not a wash, man. At the end of the day, Danny Garcia is legitimate opposition. He has a damn good resume, respectable resume heading in there. Even with 2 losses, people debate those 2 losses with Danny Garcia. But this is going to prove a lot.
Listen, I think somebody else had a title at that time too. It might have been even Porter. He could have chose any route like that. The reason I say he could have chose anything but Jeff Horn was because the title from Jeff Horn was already at top rank. He could have went and fought somebody outside of top rank mandatorily, whether it would have been Spence or Porter. I don't remember if it was Porter or not who had the WBC at the time, but he could have circled around and got that WBO title shot quick and easy with no problems. That's why I say he could have chose another route at welterweight. It didn't have to be specifically Spence, but you get what I'm saying? He could have doubled back the top rank and got that WBO. They would have gave him that right away after that.
I don't know if it would have been that easy because to me, that Colonel, it just seems like Spence has always had an excuse. Like you're telling fighters to get a belt, and I put this on my comments. I believe my comments in the description of my YouTube. He was telling people to get a belt. He said, get a belt, get a belt. So when they get a belt, people was like, okay, shit. Goddamn Terence Crawford, he got a belt. Now what? Now it's something else with freaking Aerospence. Why wouldn't I take the easier route? He's telling people, why wouldn't I take the easier route than Sean Porter?
No. What I was trying to say is he could have picked somebody with the belt other than the WBO because at that time, Spence only had the IBF at that time. He could have picked, I think it was Sean Porter who had the other belt. I don't even remember, man.
Yeah, that's his friend, though. You know what I'm saying?
Man, come on, bro.
I'm just saying. They didn't want to fight each other because they're friends and shit.
Bro, you know how many friends I done seen fight in the ring, bro? You just business, bro. They're both making it so they can both eat. Are you kidding me, man? I don't like that excuse.
Yeah, that's why they haven't fought as of recent. But Sean Porter has come, to the front and said that he has no problem facing Terence Crawford, but Terence Crawford really haven't responded to that yet. You know what I'm saying? But the big fight that we're talking about, is why can Errol Spence and Bud Crawford's conversation get any closer to coming official? Like, why can't we make these 2 names come together and say, you know what, at the end of 2021, it looks like it's going to be an official fight between these 2. It just seems like Spence always have that gate. Get a belt. Why wouldn't I take the easier route? Oh, you remember what Bob Arum? I'm not going to repeat what Bob Arum said, but the proof is in the pudding. All this shit is basically directed towards one fighter, Terence Crawford, all coming from Aerospence.
I just don't believe Spence is scared of him or ducking him or anything like that. That scenario I won't never believe. But like I said, man, he's got to get through Danny Garcia first. I believe, my opinion is that this fight is going to happen by the end of this year coming up anyway. I really believe that's going to happen. And I believe they're talking a lot on the outside and social media to build it up even more because these guys talk on the phone a lot more than you think, man.
Yeah.
This is going to happen, man.
Well, if they are talking behind the scenes, then I don't know why they come out to the public and they act like they have no interest. You know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to bring fight fans closer.
For this reason right here,
Bob Arum.
They do it for this same reason right here. What are we sitting there talking about?
What?
That's why they do it. That's why they do it, to get people to talk.
Hey, man, they need to change up the damn goalpost a little bit, bring it in a little closer. They need to bring it in a little closer and shit with a soccer ball or something.
I'm just saying, I've seen this a bunch, man. Like, I'm like, man, but yeah, no, I get everybody's argument, man. But I believe if the fight was like to happen next, then yeah, Spence 60, Crawford 40. Although I think they would negotiate it and end up being like 55-45 or something like that. At the end of the day, I think they'll still fight. But now, if Crawford somehow manages to get that Pacquiao fight and come out victorious, which I think he can, because I think he's got all the skills in the world as well to win that fight, then he'll have two belts just like Spence. And man, I mean, you can't make an argument against 50-50 then. I wouldn't. You wouldn't hear it come out of my mouth anyway. I'd be like, no, that's a 50-50, man. Let's get it.
Yeah, man, I agree. I mean, I've said that previously, but you know who Pacquiao is signed to though.
Correct.
So that itself is a flag right there in itself. You know what I'm saying? So when you're talking about who's going to get first dibs, man, I'll be surprised if it's Terence Crawford. But I would want it to be Terence Crawford. I want it to be.
Yeah,
But
I don't think it's gonna be Crawford either. I think it's gonna be Spence, and then Spence is gonna have 3 belts. And now what's the conversation gonna look like at the table then?
yeah, Sir Ken, he said, I feel that Spence has his eyes on fighting Thurman for a couple of years before Crawford came on the scene. This made him overlook Crawford. Now we hear to this type of conversation. That's a solid point, man.
It
Because
is true.
hey, Ken, you're absolutely right. Because on Showtime, he was up there on the panel, and his primary focal point was Keith Thurman all the time. Boom, boom, boom. And Keith Thurman would not acknowledge Aerospence's presence in the room, man, until that Showtime and until he said, you know what, I watched this boy grow up in the gym, but he never gave us any indication that he was moving closer to saying, you know what, I'll fight Spence. He never did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Made you keep boxing. Hey. I did see it, and I did see what Terence Crawford said to just release me, and I agree with Terence Crawford, man. Bob, if you're going to talk about the man like that, just release him. Let him be. Let him go.
Let him go, man. Let him go. Because you're doing nothing. You're doing nothing right now, but out the door, you want to further discredit Terence Crawford from getting that fight with Errol Spence, because you're saying that you lost so much money that you can build a house in Beverly Hills. I mean, who ain't laughing at that? I'm pretty sure a lot of people took that and ran, bro.
Man, they're gonna have to release him because that relationship is broken beyond repair now. After he come out saying that like that, man, come on, man. There's no way they're gonna be able to sit down together no more. I don't see it.
Nah, I don't see it either, man. I don't see it, but I would like to see. This is not deterring me against Errol Spence to go in here against Danny Garcia. I like both fighters, bro. Like, I want to see a damn good fight. I'm not going to say, okay, well, I hope Danny Garcia, defeat Errol Spence just so we can see Danny Garcia versus Crawford. No, I want to see the best win. And then hopefully the winner calls out, the name Crawford, or, you still have Manny Pacquiao out there. I believe Manny Pacquiao may try to hold out for the undisputed, the unification undisputed match. The ball's in his court as an 8th division champion. The ball is in Manny's court. He can hold out and come back in a fight that's going to pay him well, but knowing damn well he's going to lose.
He ain't gonna be able to hold out too much. He's gonna have to fight eventually. Otherwise, he's gonna have to relinquish the belt. You can't stay that damn inactive, man. Another thing is, listen, I ain't made my prediction on Danny and Crawford and Spence yet, but if somehow Danny does win, he would not hesitate to fight Crawford. I promise you that. He would not hesitate about that one.
Okay. I mean, a part of me agree with that, because look at who he's fought, period. You know what I'm saying? But
they know each other. They fought twice in the amateurs and split. So Correct. They're very familiar with each other. So, I mean, listen, man, Danny wanted to fight him back then, but they wanted to give him $3 million, and then they ended up giving Khan $7 million. So what's that tell you that back then? I mean, come on, man. That wasn't right for them to just offer Danny that lowball number like that and then give Khan $7 million. I thought, to me, Garcia was worth more than a Khan.
Yeah, but you know how the popularity is. You know how boxing is. You've been in it long enough. You've been a part of the sport, man. You know how it goes when it comes to the numbers.
Yeah.
Well, but this particular case right here, I just feel that Errol is Rolodexing excuses, man, over and over again. He has a history of freaking excuses. I'm pretty exhausted with it. This is a big fight right here. This potentially for the undisputed crowns with these two fighters, trying to do what since Zap. I mean, we want to see this shit, man.
I don't know if it's so much excuses as to much that the timing ain't right now due to everybody's schedule and the opponents they've had to have scheduled and stuff. So I don't know, man. I mean, teach his own on that. I respect it, but I think the fight will happen, man. And I tell you what, man. I think it'll be the end of 2021. I believe. I think. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping anyway.
Yeah, we can put hope out there. You know how hope is. Keep hope alive, goddammit. Keep hope alive. But Spence need to do better, bro. He win this fight with Danny Garcia. Of course, he's gonna have that momentum. And I don't think his attitude is gonna change, to be honest. He go ahead and defeat Danny Garcia. He's gonna say, you know what? My shit ain't changed. I still want 60-40. My resume better than yours at 47.
Sir Ken says it is time for Crawford to bet on himself and get his own promotional company and move forward like some of the other fighters. You know what I think he should do, man? I think he should reach out to TMT Mayweather in case Bob don't let him out. I believe Mayweather would buy that contract out for him and actually do a better job promoting him than what Bob Arum did, even if it's for a 1 or 2 fight deal.
I don't know, Cano. Mayweather don't have a good track record outside of Tank Davis, bro.
You don't think so?
He doesn't. Who else outside of Gervonta that he has a good track record with promoting and building up the fighter? Who in his stable? Rolly?
Nah.
Who? I'm just saying who.
I'm just saying, but he is a big name. You get somebody like a pound for pound guy like that. You don't think he could do something with him?
There's no doubt that Mayweather could do something with him.
I mean, better than what Bob has been doing.
Personality-wise, between these two, it'd be somewhat the same as Bob Arum, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, man. They might have this unique blend of these A-type personalities, but both of these guys, I don't know, man, are alpha-type dudes, and I don't see Crawford just giving. He's already given. Like, Crawford is losing out on the money already because Victory Boxing Promotion, I believe he still have to give a percentage to Chris Menendorf. And then, he's trying to now get out of Top Rank. So if you're going to say for Floyd Mayweather to take the responsibility to release you, I don't know, man. I don't know. Crawford just don't seem, I don't know, man.
I'm just saying that's
a bad point, but I don't know, bro.
I'm just saying that might be the only option he has to get out of that contract if Bob don't let him just straight out of the contract. That will be the way out of there. I think he would get him out of there.
I ain't never known Bob to let people out. Look at Mikey Garcia. He was out the sport a couple of years, right? Look at freaking Floyd Mayweather. What happened with him when he was getting out the contract? I mean, that's what people do, man, when it comes to Bob. Bob put him on the shelf for a minute. Shit. They have to go to the trenches to get out of the way of Bob, man.
Yeah, you got a point because they got a lot of fine print in their contracts. That's why.
Hell yeah. Major Key said, "Did you guys see the whole interview on the Zone?"
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, the TC had just released. Me, if you feel that way, if they release him, then we may see those fights sooner. Bob isn't letting him go until Bob gets the Spence fight. I know. I mean, Bob. I know he wants that money. That's a huge fight. He said it himself. He said it cannot happen without a live gate. That's what Bob said. It is no way that fight can happen without a live gate.
Bob should have kept his mouth shut, man. He shouldn't have said nothing about Bud Crawford if he was holding out for that. Like he's ruining it right there.
Correct. He said he did make Badu Jack sound better than he was, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I mean, making Badu Jack sound better and then Badu still starting late in a fight. When people hear Badu Jack's name, he's a good dude. Badu Jack is a good dude, man. Tough too. We saw that fight with him and Marcus Brown, man. That 12-6 split. I was at the fight. It was blood everywhere, man.
Jayleon Love.
Yeah, J Love. The results of J Love was just as I expected. I mean, Floyd respects him as one of his good friends, but boxing wise, I never saw him just going to the freaking top, like that.
Hell of a guy though, man. I like his
I
personality,
like J
man.
Love, man. He's a cool cat, man. I met him at Floyd Mayweather's fight on the Braun and Pacquiao at the MGM. He's a cool cat, man. We was chopping it up for a minute. J Love is a cool dude, man.
Definitely.
Tabiti is too. Tabiti's cool too.
Yeah. So
But
shout out to
they
J
both
Leon
got
Love.
shot.
Big shout out to J Leon. Shoot.
Yeah.
I like the guy a lot, man. Just as a human being,
Yeah, J Love is a down to earth one of the best personalities you'll run into in boxing. Period.
He has a lot of good advice too, man. He always giving out advice to people, man. And it's always good advice, man. I mean, that's a stand-up dude right there.
I mean, maybe J Love that's one of the people. It's outside the topic, but maybe he should try to venture out and do his own thing. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that under Floyd Mayweather, but hey, he has the sound mind and personality to persuade some of these boxers, giving that advice.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about it like that, but yeah, it's very possible, man. I know a lot of people don't know some of these fighters, man. They just see them on the screen, but man, if you knew half of these fighters, man, in person, man, there's some great individuals out there, man, that you wouldn't even believe that they are that down to earth,
True words. I never said sign with someone else. This is coming from Ken. Just take control of his future like others stepped out and be free agents. Yeah, and this free agent stuff is not really a popular topic unless you're talking about Canelo right now. Now, I can admit that I commend Mikey Garcia. I always commended Mikey Garcia for what he sacrificed, because Mikey Garcia had to, sell some real estate while he was out of the sport to get released, and he spent like $1 million in legal fees to release him out of Top Rank. I commend him for doing man type stuff, man, to make these bigger fights, and it worked out for him.
Yeah, definitely, man. He should have never stepped in there with Spence, but that's another story.
Hey, man, he saw something. That's what Mikey said. Plus, he got paid pretty damn well, right?
Yeah, he got paid good, but I knew he what he saw wasn't going to be what he got in the ring. I knew that was going to be a mismatch from the get. I never thought Mikey Garcia had a chance in that fight.
But his fans did. His fans thought Mikey Garcia saw something and could go in there and give Spence the business. They thought so.
Well, Leo Santa Cruz fans thought the same thing too. But I knew better.
Yeah.
Listen, man. That's why I don't knock any of these people's resumes or how they fight. Like Crawford, yeah, he takes punches and stuff like that. But listen, man. Sometimes fighters do that on purpose, man, and to set something up. You know what I'm saying? So, like Crawford against Brook, man. Look, Brook was outboxing him on the outside. Eventually, I thought if Brook can keep that up for 12 rounds, he could win. I did really think that. I said though, but I did say that the keys for Crawford was to stay boxing. Even though he was getting outboxed, I said that was the key for him to win. And the reason I said that was because eventually, if he stayed boxing, Brook was going to make a mistake, and he did. So
I just go ahead.
You got to give him credit, man. I don't take away credit for opponents, man. I really don't, man. You get in there and you fight, and it is what it is. I'm not going to be like, oh, leftovers this, leftovers that. Man, look, you got in the ring. The dude made the weight. He looked great, looked in shape. That's it. The fight is done. That's it.
Yeah, when it comes to Crawford, though, he's in a bubble right now when it comes to the welterweight division, because what we can say Spence take the lead on is the opponents that's out there for Crawford to fight, to prove that he can go in there like Sean Porter. Sean Porter's name keep coming up, but Spence already defeated Sean Porter. So it'll be almost like he's catching up to what Aerospence did, but he would definitely get more credit if he go in there and defeat Sean Porter than Kell Brook, because Sean Porter has a reputation. You know what I'm saying? He has a track record. So I would definitely like to see Sean Porter step in there with Terence Crawford, because he's a dog. Both of them cats are a dog. But shit, the bear comes out of Sean Porter, and I would like to see how Terence Crawford handles that pressure.
I don't know about that fight right there. That fight would not go the distance if they fight. That one ain't going the distance. No, I couldn't see it. Both
you have to provide more clarification on that fight not going the distance. Who you nodding? Who you nodding in that fight though? Man. Who you nodding to get it done?
They're both dogs. They both can throw a lot of punches by the bunches, man. I don't know, man. I would have to get a nod to Sean Porter, man. I think his chin. I think his chin is better than Crawford's. I think he could take more punishment than Crawford.
Yeah, we know he can take more punishment. That ain't a question. We know Sean Porter has a track record of taking more punishment when it comes down to flush punches landed. You know what I'm saying? Hey, he just happened to be caught with that coincidental shot by Adrian Broner, and then that shot in the middle of the storm with Errol Spence. I mean, I'll have to check the box on that, but
he jumps right back up, don't he?
Terence Crawford will have to fight a smarter fight against Sean Porter, though.
Again, that's a fight that Crawford would have to box.
Absolutely.
That's his key to victory. Same keys that I said for Kell. You know, I don't know, man. I'm dying for these.
Crawford said, I can box going forward, backwards. I can switch stands. I can do it all. That's Crawford's words.
And he can. And he can. You got to give him props for that. I don't take that away from him. You know what I'm saying? He's got skills. He's definitely got skills. I think, he gets hit a little more too much for my liking, but that's his style. That's the way he's going to fight no matter what. That's just his style. So we got to live with that. You know what I'm saying? That's just part of his game.
For sure, man. Hey, it's interesting. I mean, if he cannot get the fight, and if Spence is not speaking any words of wisdom or positivity to bring this fight together, it definitely we should kind of push for a freaking Sean Porter versus Terence Crawford. Yeah, hell yeah. That'd be a damn good fight. That'd be a damn good fight to make. And the fans will tune into it.
Yeah.
I tune in. Quickly, what you think about this? John Casimiro, man. We talking about the bantamweight division, right? 30-4, 21 knockouts. He's the WBO champion right now in the bantamweight division. Supposedly, him and Rigondeaux, who's 21-1, they may potentially fight in March of 21. You know what I'm saying? Rigondeaux holds the WBA regular title just like Gervonta. So Casimiro is a WBO world champion. So they're talking about them potentially fighting next year in March. So, Casimiro, if you last checked, he's coming off that stoppage of Duke. I think it was the third round or whatever. And then, of course, Rigondeaux, he stopped Solis. I mean, he got a split decision win over Solis. So I just want to get your opinion on it, if you even care about the bantamweight division for these two. You know what I'm saying?
I actually do care about it, man. I don't know, man. I like Casimiro better, man, but I haven't really broke that down to look. Because what I like to do is I like to look at film from both of them and see how their styles mesh. Then that's where I make my predictions from. And since I haven't really sat down and put both of their styles next to each other, I don't know which way I'm going to go yet on it. But
for sure,
top of my head, I like Casimiro though. Just his style, I like it.
That's what's up. Well, the only thing we can do is see what's gonna happen. Hold on for a second. Breaking news: Bud signs with Golden Boy as Oscar looks to sign first Mexican style boxer from Omaha. First Mexican style boxer. Crawford is a Mexican style boxer. That is hilarious, man. Shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When fighters take more risks, they get hit more than they should if they're sound defensively. Yeah, no, those are facts. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's gonna fight a different style. That's like my homeboy Scotty Subriel Matias. Everybody's like, oh, he needs to work on his defenses, bro. Let me tell you something. I've talked to this man a billion times. He is coming to fight that same way. He doesn't care. Y'all can talk about it all you want. This is how he's coming. you either come get it or you move out the way.
See, you know, when I see Matias fight, right? I'm not gonna lie. When I see him, when I hear his name about to step into the ring, he's one of those fighters like it's gonna take a damn good opponent to beat this guy.
Yeah.
And I know we was talking behind the scenes about that Malik Hawkins, and it played out just like you had mentioned. Matias just don't give a damn. Like
Nope.
when you have to earn his respect. I mean, and even if you earn his respect, you got to keep it at a high level until the end of the final bell, because he keeps coming, hands down. Sometimes when I mean, he's an exciting fighter, man. He broke down Malik Hawkins. I mean, totally stripped him down.
Now, he told me he was gonna do this before the fight, and we text after the fight. He said, "I told you, man, I wasn't gonna let your prediction down. I know we already talked about this." He texted me.
That dude is confident. That's what I like about him. He's very, very confident, man. I just wish he was in a higher weight class for real.
He said, "I made you look like a genius, right? We already talked about this." I'm like, "Man, listen, man. You know what I'm saying? It don't take a rocket scientist to know that Malik Hawkins don't like pressure, but it's just that a lot of people had a lot of hype behind Malik Hawkins because of the Mayweather name next to him."
Yeah.
So I wasn't shocked, but you already knew what I had said. You heard me talk about that way before the fight happened.
How long he plan on staying in that division before he move up?
He gonna stay there for a while, man. Okay. I still like Kent Cruz at 140, man. I'm telling you, man. He's just more fundamentally sound, and he's not like gonna be like a Malik Hawkins style. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna allow all that to be going down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ronnie Shields ain't gonna play with him like that. You know, like, oh, you better throw that jab. You better do this. You better do that. You know what I'm saying? And Kent listens to Ronnie Shields really good. So if that fight was to ever happen, which I hope it don't, unless it's a unification or an undisputed type thing, I would have to roll with Kent Cruz on that.
To defeat Matias?
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
That means he's just too, bro. You'll see.
All right.
You'll see. You'll see when he gets another fight.
I mean, I'll be honest. I can't sit up here and fake the funk like I've watched a lot of Kent Cruz fight, but I did tune in to his last one. But you know, looking at the rankings, I think I glanced over the rankings. I do see Matias higher in the rankings than Cruz. You know what I'm saying? So Cruz would definitely have to cover some real estate to get close to that fight. Or what you think about that? You know, like,
oh, he's got a lot of real estate to cover. There's no question. He had almost a 19-month layoff before he got with Ronnie Shields. So yeah, he's got some making up to do. But what I'm saying is, I like where he's at because he's being slept on, and I already know. You know, that's my best friend. So I've been watching him since Jay High, knee high type thing. So, bro,
okay,
there's gonna be a lot of people shocked except for me. Well, and the people that are close around him, you know.
How did you think Regis looked in there? You think he should have fought Mario Barrios instead of his opposition? You know, because Regis looked good in that fight. He looked okay. He got the job done.
I like Prograis a lot, man. I think Josh Taylor should go ahead and give him that rematch, man.
Well, they ain't gonna get the rematch until that unification, hopefully.
Yeah, I know.
We really want to see the unification.
Yeah, definitely, man. But I'm just hoping he does get his get back on him, man. Because I thought he did well in that fight, man. You know, they were fighting away though. He was fighting in their backyard, so I don't know, man. I'd be happy for him to get that rematch though, eventually down the road. I think it'd be a shame if he never gets to fight him again.
Ken say if Crawford fights and beat Porter, it would change the conversations. You know what I'm saying? It would change the conversation as far as it all depends on the maturity of Spence looking at that. You know what I'm saying? Because if he beats Porter and does it better, that'll be the second common opponent that he's completed better than Porter. I mean, better than Spence. He would have defeated Kell Brook, and we all know that he was coming off that shit with Triple G, but he did it. All right. And then also, we don't know how the fight's going to play out with Sean Porter, but if he's able to go in there and do something no one else has been able to do and stop Sean Porter or dominate him better than Spence, then guess what? Hey, it will change the conversation.
It's good for talk, but I don't ever look at him like that. I don't look at, oh, he did this and Spence did this to the same opponent. I'll never look at it because they fight two different styles.
They do.
So I mean,
They're in the same division though.
they in the same division, but they fight two different styles, man. So that's why I don't ever compare the common opponents, like who did better than who against this opponent. Like I don't put weight into it because their styles have to meet up in the ring at the end of the day. That's just the bottom line. At the end of the day, those two have to eventually get in the ring, and those two styles are going to have to clash. So regardless of what they did with a common opponent, that gets thrown out the window when that bell rang and they're both in front of each other.
Oh, okay. Oh, his last may be a boring fight. Oh, okay. Major Key talking about Rigo and Casemiro. It's potentially, yeah, because Rigo's a counterpuncher. And he didn't have the most exciting fight against Solis when he picked up the title for real. That was his first fight at 118 from dropping down. So Rigo is turning back the hands of time, him being as old as he is and being able to freaking drop down. I know he's a lightweight fighter, but just the point of him making 118 was crazy. TJ say when fighters take more risks, they get hit more. They should if they're sound defensively. Well, you talking about Matias, man. Matias has his own way of coming through the door for real. Like if he has his hands up, you might have got his respect with your power. If not, he's just gonna walk in there and give you that face front. Hey, this is who I am. Do something about it. You know, stop the momentum, stop the forward charge. He's just gonna walk in there with his hand down and land some punches. He's gonna make you respect his presence, and that's exactly what he did with Malik. He had him on his damn bicycle.
Yeah, that's his style. He's never going to change that, man. I can tell you that right now. It's hard for me to make videos about Subriel Matias because everybody always gets in the comment section. Oh, he needs to work on this. He needs to work on that. Like, bro, what you see is what you're going to get at this man, bro. Wasting your breath, wasting your, finger muscles typing that because he's not going to change. This is who he is.
So what do you think he did wrong in his he has one loss, right?
Yes.
Like what did he do wrong in that fight? Or was he just in there with a smarter boxer on that night?
He was in there with a bigger boxer, man. He was fighting a welterweight.
Yeah.
Because the dude came in way overweight. He was a 147 pounder he fought against that night. That's what doesn't make the news. And he still fought a close fight. He lost it on points, but not by much. It was a very super close fight. But yeah, no, man, they should have pulled him out of that fight. I was screaming about that before the fight happened, man. Pull him out. Nope, they let him fight.
I mean, that's confidence. They had confidence in their fighter, but unfortunately, maybe Matias should have switched up the game plan a little bit, being he was fighting a bigger fighter.
That's my point, man. He's only got one way to fight, bro. That's it. He's coming at you, bro. That's it, man.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like the team asked him if he would still want to take the fight. You're gonna ask a fighter that. Of course, the fighter's gonna say, "Yeah, I'll fight him. I don't care about the extra pounds." They're never gonna say no. So yeah. I mean, I look at that fight a lot differently than a lot of people, man. I mean, he still fought a decent fight. It was still a close fight, but hey, at the end of the day, man, hey, he rolled the dice and. That's what you get when you roll the dice like that, man. He doesn't even regret it to this day. He doesn't regret that. He said, "Hey, man, I'm fine with it, man. I got in that kitchen, man, and played with fire, man. Knowing, it is what it is. That's my fault."
Yeah, for sure. I look at the same as Terence Crawford. No rehydration clause with Kell Brook. Like Kell Brook was a middleweight, in my opinion. Kell Brook looked like a middleweight that night.
He got caught with a perfect shot. My goodness.
I heard D-Style the other time explain about the anchor punch. I didn't have time to ask him about that, but explain, what he was talking about an anchor punch.
I guess it's a half hook, half jab. I don't know. I never asked him about it, man. I just looked at it.
Half jab. Okay.
I'm thinking that's what he meant by that, but man, look, man, when you catch somebody like that, man, he caught him perfect, man. Like, I done watched the replay about 100 times. It was just perfectly placed, man.
I did too, but I'm like this, man. Tony Weeks went over there and said, "Okay, you okay? You all right?" And boom, Brooke was okay enough for Tony Weeks to to restart the fight, right? And then he just didn't throw nothing. Like, you going for broke, Brooke. You're hurt. You going for broke. Just don't let Crawford just walk in on you and land 6 more punches, man. Like, damn.
But I would have
You
stopped
should
it in the
just
beginning. I wouldn't even gave him the count after the way he stumbled.
Yeah, man.
I'd have been like, bro, oh hell no, this dude's dizzy. He out of it. Let me just cut it off right here. I'm all, but then again, I'm on the side of always precaution. I always like to look out for the health of a boxer in his future in life. You know what I'm saying? So the way he stumbled and was all dizzy and stuff, I probably would have stopped it because he didn't have his bearings on him at all. I mean, what was he gonna do once to let him fight again? Of course, he was gonna get swarmed. He still was dizzy.
I don't know, man. It just seems like, people tend to gravitate toward that narrative of looking out. Kell Brook was hurt, but then they sit up here and praise freaking Baranchik and Cepeda for the back and forth melee fight of the year, and the drama and suspense that it included. Both of these fighters just throwing bombs, man. But yet, when it comes to Kell Brook, people tend to show a little bit more sensitivity because of the damage he took in Gennady Golovkin and Errol Spence fight.
Nah, I look at it different, man, because Baranchik and Cepeda, they were knocking each other down, but they were getting up. They weren't no stumbling or wobbling and
But
walking
Kell Brook
sideways,
never
nothing
went
like that.
down. Kell Brook never touched the canvas, though.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
That's
I
what
just
I'm
looked
saying.
at.
He never touched the canvas. He just went into the ropes. Tony Weeks sprinted over there like he was Usain Bolt. You okay? Gave him standing, and then reconvene. And then, Kell Brook went to the mannequin challenge, didn't throw a punch, and the fight was stopped. But he never touched the canvas, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just saw it differently than the Cepeda Baranchik. I mean, they kept getting up, and it wasn't no dizziness or no stumbling or none of that stuff. You could tell Kell Brook was out of it, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess everybody's gonna look at it differently. I that's the way I just use. I don't know. I would have stopped it if I was the referee. I ain't gonna lie. I would have stopped it if I was the referee. I mean, let me just be real about it.
I mean, if you're talking about the way the referee, his visual on the way Kell Brook was looking, I can see what would persuade Tony Weeks to stop the fight, because Kell Brook gave off that energy like he didn't want to be in the ring no more. Like he didn't give me that, oh man, I'm gonna have a resurgency. Let me get on my bicycle and create space so I can goddamn collect my senses. No, he was just flat-footed, anchored down, wasn't moving, and Crawford was just teeing off on him.
Yeah, his eyes gave it away for me. His eyes gave it away for me, man. When I seen his eyes, I'm like, it's done. Done. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about the first time he
yeah. Yeah, the one when he stumbled into the ropes and stuff, and then the way he was looking at Weeks, I'm like, nah, he's done, bro. They just get it over with. But I was looking at the eyes, but just like you said, he didn't want to be there after that. I mean, it was in his eyes.
Do you believe he had the opportunity to rehydrate properly, because he was he was extremely dry during the weigh-ins?
I don't know. I don't think you know what? I didn't see him that dry on the way in. I thought he was looking just fine. I think he rehydrated properly. I'm not taking away no credit from Crawford in this, man. Oh no, he rehydrated properly. He came in there looking sharp, and it is what it is. He got caught up. He got caught. I'm not gonna be one of those that would be me being a hater if I did that. And I'm not a hater, man. I just give full credit. He did there and handle his business. He was a fully hydrated Kell Brook, and that's just that. It's real simple. To me, it's real simple. I don't know.
No, I wasn't trying to pin any type of reduction to Crawford's performance. Talking about Kell Brook, rehydration. I know, in my opinion, he was super dry. Like, his eyes was pink. Dude was super dry. He was ripped, shredded. Like, dude was super. I mean, he looked like, I was like, damn, this dude is you can see every bit of his striations and everything. He was super dry. And then in the interview, his eyes and cheekbones was sunk in. I know that happens with weight loss. You know what I'm saying? Coming in dry for a weight. I know. You know what I'm saying? But his eyes was pink. He was uncomfortable. Then you look at Crawford. Crawford's just over there drinking up a whole bottle of water. Kell Brook ain't drinking shit. He's just up there talking. I mean, hey, I don't know, man.
No, I never said you said anything. I'm just speaking about me. I don't take it. I don't discredit anything Crawford did in that fight against Kell Brook over that, because I don't know, man. Like I said, Kell Brook at the end of the fight said, "Look, man, I was at 100, man. The better man won. That's just that." So, he didn't make any excuses either. So I was happy to hear him speak like that.
What do you think about what Ken said? He said, I think the ref was more inclined to step in knowing the injuries Kell had in the past. I heard that floating around in the talking points. But do you think, his preconceived awareness or whatever, to Kell Brook's previous injuries, even though they've been a ways off from now, do you think he was more concerned about that?
I didn't put that into account in my theory at all. I just thought he was done,
Okay.
I don't know if Weeks thought that or not. I really don't. It's possible, but I don't know. I didn't even look at it that way.
He ran over there. That's the fastest I seen. Shit. He wasn't even using that type of speed during the Badu Jack and Marcus Brown fight when Badu was just bleeding all over the place. He didn't have that sense of urgency. But God damn it, dude broke out the 40-yard dash. He was over there quick.
They could be right, but I didn't take that into account at all. So, man, it's possible, but I didn't take it into account. I just saw it for what it was. He was done, after that he got hit. But anything's possible, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Thurman is out there lurking around, man, and he still has some Wall Street to his freaking career. So I really want to see Thurman get back in there and fight a bigger name, like an equal name to Pac or Champ or something, because I do feel he still has something left, to bring the fans to the table. It would be good if he can get a rematch with Manny Pacquiao, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it'll be much different this time around. He'll be much smarter. But yeah, I don't know who's out there to face Keith Thurman. I know he said 10 million to face Crawford. That ain't happening.
No, that ain't happening. But they could have counter offered, man. They could have counter offered.
If he was way off, shit, he said he was way off. Crawford said he was way off. Like,
I'm saying they could have still counter offered and say, "Oh, no, you ain't worth this. We'll give you this." Some kind of negotiations always has to take place. When they don't counter offer, doesn't sit well with me, no matter who the fighter is. There's always got to be a counter offer to see if they'll wiggle, if they'll drop or not, or if they're just. You had to do a counter offer to see if they're bluffing. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
If his high point is 10 and your counter offer is 2.5 to 3.
Now, you can at least say, "Look, I counter offered. This is what we think he's worth." At least you got something to stand on.
Yeah.
But when you don't counter offer, it's like, okay, we don't even want to even try to negotiate with the guy. That may not be the case, but that's the way it comes off.
Mm-hmm. He might have knew Bob Arum wasn't going to entertain that to begin with. That might have been the case, because obviously he's not the one making the calls, when it comes down to it. I just get a different vibe. Anyway. Huh?
I wouldn't have gave Crawford anything anyway. I mean, Thurman anything anyways. When he was getting called out by Crawford and Spence earlier, man, he acted like they didn't exist, man. So I wouldn't even be mad if Spence or Crawford never fight the man and let him just go on into sunset. Because he was, come on, man. The shoe's on the other foot now. Now you don't like it.
I try not to be extremely biased when it comes to the tit for tat type of deal in boxing. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about who he didn't acknowledge, when he had the belts. I agree. He didn't acknowledge these cats. He was doing his own thing, and then he got injured, and he ended up letting them float off anyway. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even
So my thing is, they don't even. He doesn't even deserve a fight with Crawford or Spence right now. He's coming off of a loss. Go get your win.
So regardless of him being the former unified champion with one loss, you don't think he has any type of momentum as or a resurgency, any value to calling out the names? He's the former unified champion, man.
Well, of course he's gonna call out the names. He's supposed to do that, but he doesn't deserve a shot at Crawford or Spence right now. He needs to go get him a W first. He's just coming off of a loss. Is he not coming off of a loss?
Yeah, he coming off a loss. I just thought he had a little bit more, credential to carry him over, being the former unified champion. That's all. I just thought he had a little bit to him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if Crawford or Spence fought this dude Thurman next, which I believe both Crawford and Spence can beat the hell out of Thurman, they're gonna say, "Oh, he beat they beat a man that old Pacquiao just beat." That would be the same. That would be the same. None of them would get. Neither one of those two fighters would get credit for beating Thurman right now. By the masses, not by the hardcores, but by the masses, they won't give him credit for that fight, man.
I just look at Jermell Charlo. He got his rematch with Tony Harrison coming off a loss. I don't think Tony Harrison had, the how you put it. I don't think he had the he couldn't make the call, so to speak, to deny that rematch. You know what I'm saying? He is no way he could have turned down the rematch with Jermell Charlo. So that was damn bound to happen. And it's different for everybody, man.
Yeah.
It's different for the undefeated fighters to pick up that one loss and then come back in and get that rematch. I just look at Jermell Charlo getting that rematch with Tony Harrison, even though it was his belt. I look at Keith Thurman in a sense of the same way. Like, why don't he deserve a rematch? That was his first loss, man. Goddamn, Pac, why you ain't searching for a rematch with Keith Thurman? He went the distance. He went to the final bell. You know what I'm saying? I mean, goddamn, Jermell Charlo and Tony Harrison went to the final bell.
Lawrence Williams says, can't negotiate a 60-40% if you have Danny next. Negotiation should be done in private. I agree. That's what I'm saying. I've been saying that let this fight happen between Spence and Garcia, and then we can start, throwing bombs all over the place, man. I understand it's good for talking. Well, people are gonna still talk about it anyway. I get it. I try not to get involved in it at all, but I always want to wait until the fighters are completely free, because when somebody has a fight schedule already, it's easy for the other party to run their mouth, man.
Yeah, Spence should shut up about it though. But yeah, like you mentioned earlier, when he opens his mouth with this 60-40, it causes people to talk about it.
Crawford needs to shut up too. Then neither one of them should be talking about each other.
Crawford responded and basically said Spence needs him more than he needs Spence. That's all he said. That's all Crawford said.
He been saying for the last couple of weeks he don't need Spence. You know what I'm saying? He started that. Come on, he was throwing a little undercover shot at Spence with that. Come on, man. You're a grown man.
Man, he should, bro. He should. He should say he don't need Spence like Spence trying to make it out to be.
But that's what I'm saying. The man's already got to compromise. He's got to fight Danny first. That's my point. Let him get that fight out the way.
Exactly. So since you're saying let him get that fight out the way, Aerospence has been the one that initiated most of the damn, shots fired. He should keep his mouth shut. He shouldn't bring Bob Arum into the fray and caveat off Bob Arum. Just shut up about it. Focus on the fight with DSP.
But Spence is the last one that spoke. Didn't Terence Crawford start to begin with?
No, man. Spence.
Man.
Look,
man.
Think about this.
Okay, man. All right.
Look, check this out. Just check this out, Colonel. Spence had basically mentioned when they met up, Spencer said, why wouldn't I take the easier route? So he was discarding Terence Crawford when they was all in that circle and Bob Arum was there and all that. Like, he threw that first jab, the body shot. That was a body shot. He was basically telling Terence Crawford, I'm not going to face you. I would rather take the easier route. I would rather fight Sean Porter. He threw the first body shot, man. So it's on from there. You didn't want to fight me. You wanted to freaking fight Sean Porter. And then it's been on and popping there, man.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you be on that, man. I ain't, I look at it differently, but I gotta respect your way, your thoughts.
Now I'm just saying, like recently, yeah, both of them have been talking in the media and stuff like that. But of course, Terence Crawford's not talking about numbers because he totally understands that Spence has 2 belts. He has the WBC and IBF, of course. So Spence talking about numbers now, 60-40, which is, causing us to get out here and talk about it, like you said. And the only way that Terence Crawford is going to come close to a 50-50 is potentially picking up that WBA strap.
Which we both know ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen, man, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? So what's next? What Terence Crawford got? I mean, him fighting freaking Sean Porter is not gonna close the gap. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna bridge any type of any closer to a confirmation with that. If he defeats Sean Porter, it's gonna look good for his credentials, and that's it.
I honestly don't know where Crawford goes from here. That's a no-win situation, regardless. If he fights Sean Porter,
Tom said Thurman needs a solid win over solid contender in his comeback. I don't know who solid contender can be. I don't think Virgil Ortiz, being he's up there, I don't think he's ready for Keith Thurman, to be honest. I think he'll take an L on that one. I know a lot of people may disagree, but I think Thurman is still he has space in between him and Virgil Ortiz when it comes to skill set.
I don't like Thurman's style at all. I don't think he's.
Who would be a good name for him? Yordenis Ugas? I mean, who would be a good name for him to step in there with? Yordenis Ugas is the interim right now, right? So
yeah, that'd be a good name. Why not?
Yeah, that'd be a good fight for Thurman. Put himself back in the title shadow, facing Ugas. That'd be a tough fight for Ugas, in my opinion.
Thurman might mess around and lose that one too. I just don't see. I don't see Thurman in the light that a lot of folks did back in the day, man. I don't know, man. I was like, he's nothing. He's nothing special to me. I think both Crawford and Spence beat him. Both of them.
Damn. What's going on, 85? Lawrence Williams in the building. Salute. Damn, you think he loses to both of them?
Easily.
I can't. One fight I can't vouch for is Keith Thurman. I can't vouch for Ponytail. I can't vouch for him. And the only thing I can say is because I felt some type of way on when he was ignoring fighters, that would have been good fights for him. But when he had the titles, he was just acting like they was invisible. So it come to him not having anything around his waist right now. I can't vouch for that cat, man.
And I just don't know how much longer he's going to fight. Every time he gets into a fight, whether he wins or loses, it's not even the discussion. It's just that every time he fights, he always has another injury. How much longer do you think he's going to fight like that?
I don't know, man. I really, I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not even talking about the loss he had. I'm talking about every fight that he's had recently. He's always getting injured. Win, lose, or draw, he's getting injured. This injury is going to keep taking a toll on his body, and he ain't getting no younger. I don't know what he's going to have to do, but I don't see it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think anybody. The only time somebody was really calling out Keith Thurman's name is when he said, Aerospence fight meal leader division. And people was like, oh, shit, let me go make a thumbnail. Let me make a thumbnail. Keith Thurman called out Aerospence. And then he desperately went over there to Terence Crawford. And then the 10 million freaking, went out to Terence Crawford and people was talking about it. But besides that, he's done went back in the shadows, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, of course he's going to talk. He's got to, man. He's got to try to sell himself into a fight.
But if he got injuries, man, he need to.
Man, that's my thing, man. He might. Listen, man. Let's forget about his talent and skills or whatever you want to talk about. These injuries right here, I don't think he's got more than 2 or 3 more good fights in him.
Damn.
I mean, to fight at a high elite level. Let me rephrase that and put it like that, because
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, them injuries just keep taking a toll on him. His body's not going to be able to hold up, man. He's not going to be at an elite level after 2 or 3 more fights. That's it. as far as elite goes, to me, he's done anyway. To me, he's not elite no more. But
this is what I wanted to get your OP on, man, before I forget. And this is to the live chat too. It's been like a little word out there that potentially Aerospence may move up to face Canelo Alvarez. It's been word that's been floating around out there. Aerospence fighting Canelo Alvarez potentially, I think, at 160, because I don't see Spence going up to 168. That would be foolish. But what is your thoughts on that, man? Because Spence is getting up there now. Spence is getting up there.
Bruh, this is gonna sound crazy to you, but I think Spence beats Canelo
at 160.
At 160.
Damn, I have to disagree with you on that. Shit, I think Canelo give him the work. He's more suitable at that division, Cano. I mean, come on, he's more acclimated, bro.
Then why is he fighting at 168 his next fight?
I'm talking about he's making moves because he can. He's made moves, 168, 75. Now let me go back down to 68 and fight Smith. And he's doing what the hell he wants to. Before it was Caleb Plant. And then Caleb Plant, I told people, Caleb is not going to take a short-term fight and give his belt up. The man has morals. Caleb Plant has morals when it comes to boxing. So guess what? Now he's fighting Callum Smith. Is he fully prepared for Canelo Alvarez? You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Like, is he fully prepared for Canelo Alvarez? But that's an interesting.
Who?
Smith.
Callum Smith. Oh no, that's not gonna be an entertaining fight at all. Listen, man, you gotta fight the fight you can make. So I'm not gonna crucify Canelo for it, but Canelo's gonna wash this guy, Caleb Smith.
Okay.
He gonna wash him.
But back to Spence and Canelo Alvarez. Do you think now that Canelo is able to make his own moves in the boxing game after his fight with Smith, since you say he's gonna wash him, do you believe that Canelo will wait around for Errol Spence to potentially unify the welterweight division before this fights take place? Because obviously that'll be the biggest ticket of Errol Spence's career, facing the cash cow in Canelo Alvarez. I know a lot of people, I presented this question before. I was like, will Errol Spence try to move up? And people was like, nah, he don't want to move up and come back down. That'll be too much. But there's been boxers who do it. You know what I'm saying? So do you think that Canelo will wait on Errol Spence, or will Errol Spence take the initiative and say, you know what, I want to go make this money. Let me go up here and test myself against Canelo Alvarez? Because we know the unification is not going to happen in 2021. I don't think it's going to happen in 2022 either.
I don't think Canelo waits, man. In major kickboxing, he's fighting arguably the number one in the division in column. I know he is. I'm just saying, stylistically, it's a bad matchup for Caleb Smith. I mean, man, you'll see. I'm not knocking him for fighting him. He's got to fight, the fight he can get, but stylistically, that's a bad for Caleb Smith. Real bad.
You know who their common opponent is, though? The common opponent between Canelo and freaking Callum Smith is Rocky Fielding. If I'm not mistaken, I think Callum Smith stopped Rocky Fielding in one round, and Canelo stopped him in 3 from body shot. So I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I think they have a common opponent in Rocky Fielding.
Well, like I said, I'm not, I'll say this again. I never use the common opponent thing. Yeah, I never do.
No, I'm just putting it up there for talking points. That's all.
No, that's fine. Look, I know a lot of people like to do that. That's fine. I just sit back and listen and let y'all speak on it. But as far as me, I don't use that to gauge the fight itself when it takes place.
But would you recommend Errol Spence taking that leap? You know what I'm saying? Because Major Key said, if all these boxers want the money fight, they need to move up. Canelo is the cash cow. I made a video about this last night. So would you suggest, with the people when they was talking about Gary Russell, say for instance, you know what I'm saying, Gary Russell moving up 2 divisions to face some of the lightweight contenders, or even going out there to face Terence Crawford. Would you support Aerospence moving up to prepare for Canelo Alvarez at 60 before unifying the welterweight division?
No, I think he needs to try to, do what he can to get undisputed at 147 now.
Okay.
On the flip side, if Canelo opens that door for him, I'm not gonna blame him for moving and taking it then, because that by far is definitely gonna be his biggest payday. So
Absolutely.
then that would be the exception. If he get that fight next, then okay, by all means go for it. Because I'm not gonna knock somebody for doing good business or great business, because that would be great business for him.
And you know what's crazy though is Canelo and Spence is the same age. You know what I'm saying? So we got time, man. Canelo and Spence is the same age, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if it was to open the doors, I don't think Canelo wants that next either, though. I think he wants to look for something. I don't know. I don't see Canelo. Look, Canelo's not scared of nobody. Spence ain't either. I'm just thinking that Canelo's gonna look for a different avenue before he thinks about doing a fight with Spence.
That shit's on that shit's floating around more than you think, man. Like they really, that fight has been, because in order for Spence to solidify his name, amongst the greats in boxing, period, because you just can't say he's a great boxer being on the pound for pound list and being a unified champion at welterweight. You just can't do that. So he has to take a fight such as Canelo Alvarez to kind of solidify himself as one of the top guys ever to do it at welterweight.
I just think for Canelo, man, after he finished washing Caleb Smith, which he will, y'all to come back and tell me I was right about that. Gonna wash him. I think Canelo should fight either Boo Boo Andre, Charlo, or maybe even Benavidez.
I would definitely like Benavidez, but if he fight Benavidez at 168, the WBC title, I would like for it to be on the line, man, for at least for him and Benavidez to get a unification. So, just say, like you say he gonna wash Smith. Okay, he pick up the WBA super, right? And then that WBC is vacant. So that would be a damn good fight, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely, man. But like I said, I'm not gonna single it out to one. I said 3 names there. Charlo. Also said, oh my goodness, what I say, Boo Boo Andre, and possibly maybe even try to revisit the Caleb Plant fight. I don't know.
Man, out of that 68 division, if it ain't Caleb Plant and Benavidez, man, come on. People know that Benavidez, lost his title on the scales and shit, but they would definitely want to see Benavidez step in there and face Canelo Alvarez at 68.
Of course.
I want to see Caleb Plant versus Benavidez because they don't like each other. They have absolute, true, authentic, raw freaking disdain for one another.
Yeah, I'd love to see it too. I don't know. There's a lot of good matchups, man, going on. And like I said, I hope Major Key didn't misunderstand me with Canelo. Now he's fine and fighting that fight. I've always said it. As long as it wasn't that Yildirim guy, I was okay with it. Now, had he chose Yildirim, then I would have had something to say, because that's just fight didn't make any sense at all. To me, it didn't make any sense at all. But by him going to Caleb Smith, which I believe he did offer it to Caleb Plant first, so I don't know what happened there. I'm not going to speculate on that. So that didn't happen for whatever reason. So yeah, Caleb Smith, that's fine. I'm okay with it.
You don't think Boo Boo should fight Charlo first before he even consider Canelo? Like, come on, man. Like, they're right there.
What do you mean they're right there? One's on the zone and the other one's PBC. What do you mean? They're right there.
Correct. But they're right there in the same division. Everybody keeps talking about Boo Boo fighting other people outside of Charlo. So they have a history. You know why? I mean, they're right there, man. They're in the same residential area. You know what I'm saying? They're in the same residential area, bro. Like, why not try to make that fight?
I'd watch it. There's a lot of different matchups that you can put and build up another big fight after that. So yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't know. Why don't they fight? I don't know. That's a good question.
Boo Boo, man, Boo Boo's not getting any younger, bro. Like,
I don't know,
man. He needs to make some moves, man.
I don't think Eddie Hearn did him justice, bro.
Hell no.
I think Eddie
Hell
Hearn
no.
hurt him more than anything, man. He just has him in a cage or on a shelf and catching dust, and it's not good for. It's not Boo Boo that don't want these fights, you know. Eddie Hearn is not helping him out. I don't believe Eddie Hearn's helping him out like he needs to, and he's hurting from it, and he's gonna suffer from it. It's a shame. Talented fighter, man. Probably not gonna get to showcase his talents at the elite level due to that. That's a shame.
Yeah, it is, man. He's not getting any younger, man. And to be honest, I hear so much. I've seen Andrade, you know, get it in, but he's not one of the top names that when I start talking about fighters I want to see in the ring. I would just like to see Charlo, you know, being he was able to get Sergey out the way. Now let's try to cross that bridge and freaking fight somebody that's in your residential area, your area code, bro. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
They need to fight each other if they want the money. Look how hyped we were for Crawford Brook. Yeah, man, a lot of people was hyped. I agree. A lot of people, look, it was amazing how the surge, it was a late surge for Crawford Brook. Like Brook was saying all the right things, man, to get people interested. You know, so people start to tune in. So imagine if, I mean, that just goes to show you this fight wasn't even promoted on the level like you would consider like over the top. Like, it wasn't that much promotion going on. I know Relentless came on. We looked at Relentless. They did a damn good job with that. But it wasn't even promoted months out. You know what I'm saying? Like you would expect. But it still did pretty decent with people talking about it on here.
Now, Major Key Boxing asked a good question, and I don't know this answer at all. I really don't. I'm not going to lie to the man. He says, has anyone heard any updates with the 168 WBC belt after the zone declined the Canelo versus Children fight? I personally don't know anything. I don't know if Scotty does.
I mean, I can answer that. That belt at this point in time is vacant, and they haven't scheduled anybody. And just like you know, Major Key, Cono Loco Sports, Canelo Alvarez attempted to sneak in through the window with Abney Yildirim, his sparring partner and shit, and scoop it up, and the zone turned it down. So as of this point right now, there has been no other names to fight for that vacant WBC. That's why I mentioned Alvarez. If he potentially was to fight David Benavidez, it would be good if it's for the WBC and WBA title. That would be good for unification right there.
I agree. So, man, they need to schedule somebody. They need to schedule two good opponents for that WBC. The big names that we know, to go ahead and scoop that up, put somebody in place for the next big fight.
I just hope it's not Daniel Jacobs, man, after coming off that fight with Gabriel Rosado sometime in 21. You know what I'm saying? I hope it's not. I just hope it's not Daniel Jacobs up there. You know, Daniel Jacobs fight David Benavidez. I got David Benavidez in that fight, to be honest. Because I think it's only a matter of time before they give Benavidez another shot at the title.
Oh, yeah, no question. No question about it, man.
But he said, no, we good. I'm following what you're saying. Has anyone heard? Okay, yeah, I already read that. Okay.
Yeah. You know, if I know, I say it. If I don't, I'm gonna tell you I don't know either. I'm not going. I don't like to make up nothing. So that's why I threw it back to Scotty and he answered the question. So you know what I'm saying. If I don't know, I just don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm surprised that WBC is just sitting up there solo dolo like that. I mean, we haven't heard anything in the media. None of the platforms on, you know, potential names to step in there for that vacant WBC title. But Benavidez still, you know, they try to do him dirty there, Cano. You know, after he missed it on the scales, they put him up in the light heavyweight rankings. And then he had to petition and say, I'm still fighting in the super middleweight. Can you put me back in the rankings? So they moved him back down as the number one contender for his vacant title, his previous vacant title.
Yeah. I understood a lot of why these people were missing weight initially in the bubble. I just think we're far along now that this shouldn't happen no more because everybody should expect not to have all the resources when they get inside that bubble to make sure they're at weight on fight, when it's time to step on the scales. Initially, when they started boxing back and the bubble was first introduced, I understood why they were missing weight. But now I think it's common knowledge all across the board, and everybody should know and be prepared for that,
Hey, what up, Scotty? What up, Connor?
What's going
What up?
on?
Made you keep boxing in the building.
It's too much to type, bro. But look, that's why I came on. But look, you know what I mean? I'm gonna jump off soon though because my battery's low. That's why I didn't want to go live. But no, going back to what you said, I don't believe, because I just made a video about this. Abney Yildirim, the fight, you know what I mean? It wasn't Canelo trying to jump in there. Remember, he's the franchise champion, right? So as soon as he moved to that weight division and David Benavidez lost his title, even if he wouldn't have lost it, he would have had first dibs against David Benavidez. But then because David Benavidez lost it, and they said, all right, well, we're going to allow people to bid for the vacant spot. Of course, Canelo was going to get the first slot. Then it was about who else the WBC chose. So it wasn't Canelo's fault that they chose Abney Yildirim. I understand that the zone declined it because it wasn't a money fight for them. And they're the promoters, so they have that right to decline that, because then they're the ones putting in the money to promote the fight, right? But that's basically what they said was, okay, Canelo's first, you know what I mean? Because he's got the franchise championship, and he's moving down to fight for the vacant WBC belt. Now, who else is he going to fight? And a lot of other people put their names in the hat, but they chose Abney Yildirim. That's the WBC's fault, not his fault. You know what I mean? So, I wanted just to clarify that right there, because, David Benavidez over here talking about Callum Smith and this and this and that, and Caleb Plant ducked him again. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Canelo's just doing what he can do, bro. Like, he got himself out of the contract just so he could start fighting again. You know what I mean? He hasn't been scared to fight anybody. So I gotta give, and I'm not a Canelo fanboy, but I do believe he's pound for pound number one. I just been following this dude and it took me a while to even have belief in the kid. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew he wasn't ready, but I thought he was gonna lose against Austin Trout. You know what I'm saying? That was a pretty close fight. I thought I knew he was gonna lose against Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? A lot of other people that I felt that it was a close fight, that it could have gone either way. You know what I'm saying? So I've been following Canelo since he was a young dude too. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, he's proven himself. So if these dudes want the smoke, they got to stop saying like Canelo's the one that's supposed to be moving down and up in weight divisions just to prove to people. You know what I'm saying? Like he moved through those divisions, went up to 175, wants to settle at 168. And so if these dudes are, especially Charlo, why does he need to move down to Charlo? Charlo said that he was going to move up to fight David Benavidez when he was talking to Darrell. After Benavidez beat Darrell, he was talking about, yeah, I'm going to go up there and fight that dude, this and this and that. Now he's at 160, and he ain't talking that shit right now because Canelo's there. He's like, what, Canelo's supposed to move down to fight him? Who is he? Canelo got a bigger fish to fly over here.
Who said that? Who said he should move down to fish Charlo?
Let me stop you there, Charlo.
No. I'm saying a lot of people are basically saying that he should go to 160 to fight Charlo. Like you know what I mean? Like if Charlo's some big shit, that he should change his whole weight training and everything that has to do with nutrition and all that. Get a new nutritionist and all that shit just to get down to 160 to fight Charlo. Who is Charlo?
Let me keep it fair.
If Charlo wants to make his name known, he needs to move up.
Major key. Y'all must have missed when the Charlo team, including his trainer, said that they will move up to 168 or 175 to fight Canelo. They did say this after the last fight.
I know, but you hear everybody else though. What I'm saying is the whole tube is talking about that he needs to move down to fight Charlo. Like basically, Charlo needs to move up and to 168 if he wants that Canelo fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe that 168. Huh?
The Charlo team did say that they're willing to move up. So as far as everybody else talking on the net, it doesn't even matter because his team said they'll move up to 168 or 175.
Then when I see it, I believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because we hear a lot of shit, but you know what I'm saying? They haven't moved up to 168 yet.
Because the fight ain't there. It ain't presented itself to him. But they did say that. I don't know if you heard it, Scotty, or not, but they did say it.
They did say it. Derek James, I forgot who podcast he was on, but I think he mentioned it also. But no one's talking about it because, when it comes down to it, someone has to sell that fight. Like the Charlo brothers, unless they have a fight coming up, what do we hear out of their camp? Man, like we don't hear anything. Canelo, man, check this out. You know, Canelo in my eyes is a pound for pound, but I hear Crawford, name, right? So Canelo's how many divisions has Canelo won a championship in?
4 right now, and if he beats Callum Smith at 168, that'll be his 5th, because he skipped over 168.
No, he defeated Rocky Fielding at 168.
No, that was 160, if I'm not mistaken.
It was 168 because he's the WBA regular title holder at 168 right now. But what I was saying,
I believe he's a 4 division at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So just say
I could be mistaken. I could be mistaken. I'm not gonna lie, but I believe he's 4 division. He skipped over 168. So
he freaking 4 division, and he's 53 wins and one defeat. We already know his 1 defeat. Why are people or the boxing community putting Terence Crawford over Canelo Alvarez? What is the reason behind that? I'm just using that as a talking point. How can Terence Crawford be basically vilified for not having a resume, but yet he's on the pound for pound list and he's not even right behind Canelo Alvarez, but yet they say, okay, he's top pound for pound in boxing. It's not for me to understand. I understand it, but why do you feel that they are placing Terence Crawford over Canelo Alvarez?
If you're asking me, I think it's a mistake, because that's my next video that I'm gonna drop today, which is basically how do you, if you're gonna say that Kell Brook is washed, which I don't believe he is, I just think he just got outboxed. So I think that they're basically demeaning Terence Crawford with his victory. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's a whole different ball game. But at the end of the day, how do you push him up above Canelo when, some people had him above Canelo already, but I think honestly speaking, like the people that didn't have him above Canelo, how all of a sudden now Terence Crawford is pound for pound number 1 by beating Kell Brook. You know what I mean? Kell Brook, yeah, he's won his last 3 fights, but who were they against? You know what I mean? It wasn't like he made noise like that. Kovalev was a legitimate champion. Now he's going to fight the number 1 at arguably, I can say arguably, because he's been the longest reigning champion at 168. You know what I'm saying? He does have a better resume than anybody else at 168. So Callum Smith is the real deal. You know what I'm saying? So if he's going to fight the number 1 at 168, right? And then you got Terence Crawford that fought somebody that already lost to another dude that they're, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me how you move him above Canelo. Canelo's still number 1 for me. You know what I mean? I got him number 2 though. I had Vasily Lomachenko number 2 before, but you know what I mean? But I got Terence Crawford number 2 right now.
All right, fellas. Hey, I got to run out of here, man. But I appreciate you letting me on the platform and speak and have a dialogue with y'all. But I appreciate y'all, man. I got to run.
Yeah, bro. I apologize for boring you, bro.
It's all good. It's all good.
Salute, Colonel Loco. Appreciate you.
Yeah, salute, bro.
Take care, everybody.
All right.
But as I was saying, like, Canelo moving up to face Callum Smith, I think is a good deal because Callum is one of the better champions, reigning champions at the time over there. I do like Sweet Hands Caleb Plant. I knew he wasn't going to take that quick fight with David Benavidez. I knew that shit wasn't going to happen when he just came off Vincent Fegan boots. And I also knew he wasn't going to take a quick fight with Canelo Alvarez. Even though it's a big name for him, he wasn't going to do it. I mean, that's the way Caleb Plant is. But now with Callum Smith, my only dilemma problem with it is he in shape. Like, you're taking a short-term fight. It was Caleb Plant before, and then Callum Smith. So is Callum Smith in shape to face Canelo Alvarez? You know what I'm saying? I mean, is he in top shape?
Here's the response to that, Scotty. Like, basically, both of them should have been in shape, just like Canelo has been in shape. See what I'm saying? We're talking about world championship. Bro, if you would, like, all of these answers, questions you're asking, bro, I literally answered them on my video, bro. And it's a 6-minute video. So when we done here, go watch that, bro. I literally answered all these questions yesterday. But literally, like, so all of these dudes are supposed to, we're talking about coronavirus, right? You have access to run around your neighborhood. You have access. If you're a millionaire and you fighting for millions of dollars, you should be in shape. You should find a way to stay in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give me that BS that you couldn't find a way, you couldn't work out, or you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. Canelo did it. You know what I'm saying? Canelo, and he's putting his name out there. And then on top of that, Callum Smith was recorded from a journalist saying in July that he was ready, that he was back in the gym, and he's getting ready for a fight. You know what I mean? This is in July. We're talking now November. You're not ready? Of course he's ready.
I didn't say he wasn't ready.
David Benavidez.
I just hope he is ready. I didn't say he wasn't ready. I just hope he is ready for a fighter such as Canelo Alvarez.
There should be no excuses. Just like all these other fights that we've been watching, nobody needs to come out with excuses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to come out with an excuse. I think it's a big fight, of course, for Callum Smith fighting Canelo Alvarez. Absolutely. I just hope, when we watch this fight, that it's a competitive fight. And it's not as easy as people think. He went 3 rounds with Rocky Fielding to take his WBA regular title, because Canelo Alvarez is sitting right behind Callum Smith. So it's only a matter of time before these two was going to fight anyway. So now it makes sense that Callum Smith is who he's fighting in the WBA, being that Saul Canelo Alvarez holds a strap there at 68. Yeah. So it'll be good, man. It'll be good. You know what I'm saying? Conor did say he think he's gonna Canelo's gonna watch Callum Smith.
Yeah. And I would like to see also one of the things I don't want to slip away from. I was hoping to ask that with Conor, but I got lost in the other points that I was trying to make. But what is it? Because as soon as David Benavidez lost the WBC strap, they automatically started putting names out there, knowing that Canelo was going to come back down on 168. He put his name in the hat. Then when the zone declined that offer, all of a sudden now they're slacking the WBC on making a fight for that. Because I haven't heard anything about it. So what is it? Because Canelo's not there now. You don't have really that sense of urgency now.
Well, they probably want to make a big fight, which I believe that David Benavidez is still sitting out here. So Avni Yildirim has made it clear that he still hopes that he's able to get a fight with Alvarez for the vacant WBC title. He's holding, the hope to get that fight. But below Yildirim in the ranking systems of the WBC, you still got Jacobs, you got Lemieux, you got Benavidez. I mean, hey, that's out of those 3 right there, you can make a fight happen. You got Errol at 5th, sitting in 5th. That's 5 fights. I mean, Benavidez, Yildirim, Lemieux, Jacobs, and Errol. That's all sitting lined up on the WBC.
Yeah, let's not forget about Billy Joe Saunders neither. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's champion. You know what I'm saying? If they allow Billy Joe Saunders to attempt to unify, that'd be. What now?
Yeah. Because I'm saying with Plant, he definitely. I know he wants to fight. He take already 2 offers. I know he wants to fight Plant. Talking about Canelo, I know he wants to fight Plant, and now hey, Benavidez got a loud mouth. You know what I'm saying? But that's because he's opening cheeseburgers. You know what I'm saying? He needs to get disciplined and speak with his discipline versus just talking shit about other people that are disciplined. The last person that did that to him, that was a Mexican fighter, he said that he didn't really want to fight Mexican fighters, Canelo. But the last person that did that was what's his name, Junior, Chavez Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then he whooped his ass. Bro.
But that was on the prelims of him signing the fight with Gennady. So Chavez Jr. was going to be a punching bag. They already signed the fight for Triple G before that. So it's no way Chavez Jr. was going to derail that shit.
Hell no. But he was pissed off at Chavez Jr. for not representing Mexicans the right way. He said that. He said that in the lead up to it. He's like, this guy's not representing us. He's undisciplined. I'm going to teach him a lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He went in there and taught him a lesson.
Yeah.
You could be bigger, you could be naturally at this weight class, but if you're not disciplined, I'm gonna fuck you up. That's basically what Canelo did, you know.
I think for Canelo, he has the pick of everyone that he chooses. You know, Smith is a reputable opponent, but after that, is he gonna stay at 68? It's still some quality names at 68, man. You know, he picks up the WBA Super. It's some damn good names like Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, or fighting for the vacant WBC against one of the top 5 names that I mentioned. That would be a damn, you know, he has to pick, man. And, you know,
well, so Reynoso said, my bad, go ahead.
Go ahead. Reynoso said what?
No, Reynoso said that he was willing to move to 168 or 168. Also said that Canelo feels comfortable at 168. You know what I mean? And that's since I heard he put his head into his name.
Your audio going in and out. Your audio going in.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So I think that basically when he said that he was going to 168, right? And putting his name in the hat for the WBC. And now they're talking about he's comfortable. I felt like, you know, maybe he moved up to Kovalev, and if he didn't have that knockout, it was a pretty good fight. You know what I'm saying? It was a pretty good fight against Kovalev. Saying so, he probably felt some power that he felt like, you know what? Maybe this is not my division. Maybe I overstepped, but I got the championship. So hey, it's going down in the record books anyway. It's another thing I mentioned on my video yesterday. So maybe move down to 168, try to unify. You know, see what the power's like there. And I think that he's going to test the power by going against a Callum Smith. And then depending on that, either try to unify or move back down to 160. I think that's basically what it is right now.
Well, if he's comfortable at 68, he definitely ain't trying to make a rush down back to 160, because at 160, the shit becomes a warehouse, you know, during the pandemic. Shit. I mean, what are we picking? Charlo? I mean, when you get down there, what are you going to do? Yoda Murata? The trilogy with Gennady Golovkin, Demetrius Andrade, the pick of the litter becomes very, very slim, man. Jaime Magia? Come on, man.
That's what I'm saying, you know, and at 168, you got a lot of, you even got some potentials. If you unify there, you got Berlanga, ain't he at 168?
It's gonna be a minute before Berlanga gets thrown into the hat.
Yeah, I know, but if he keeps
he's on the hunt, though. He's on the hunt, though. But it's gonna be
that's what I'm saying.
They throw him in the damn fire like that.
Yeah, because if he keeps on getting first round knockouts, they're gonna be able to make more frequent fights. And you know, Canelo literally just fights 2 times a year, so you know he may be able to catch up a little bit, you know, and make his name known. And by the time Canelo unifies, if he unifies, you know, may be able to throw his name in the hat and be like, hey, you know, this is an exciting fight because you got Puerto Rican versus Mexican. You know what I'm
saying? He needs to go in there with somebody like a Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs he been on the canvas, but he just ain't going in there getting stopped. I would like to see Berlanga step in there with a fighter like Jacobs at 68. To be honest, not a Lemieux, and definitely not a Benavidez yet. But Berlanga, you know, I would like to see him step in there with somebody like Jacobs, man. To be honest,
yeah.
Just to see how he fared with a name like Jacobs, you know what I'm saying? Because Jacobs was the same one who stopped the knockout streak of Gennady Golovkin. You know, he was on a 23-fight win streak. Jacobs shut that down and went to distance.
That was a good fight, man. That was a good fight.
It was a good fight. So I want to see what he does now against a hitter like Berlanga who's on the move.
Yeah. I think it's just like right now, you got some up and coming boxers, man. You know, everything gets better with time, you know, and you know, we're getting some boxers right now that are up and coming. That's why the 135 division is so lit right now, because it's just like young boxers that have no chill button. They just want to go after the you know, the gusto. You know, they want everything.
Yeah, for
you know, and that makes everything exciting. So if we had that in every division, shit, man, you know, boxing is coming back, man. Boxing is making a noise right now.
Yeah, man, it did pretty well, man. On the back end of this 2020 semester, it did pretty damn good, man. King Mitch in the building. What's good? He said, "I'm cool with Charlo moving up. Canelo is franchise at 160. So that's where I like to see the fight take place, 160. Yeah, that's if he's willing to move back down and give him attention. It don't seem like he's been giving Charlo attention like that. The Charlo brothers are not doing enough talking, in my opinion, on social media to kind of build that fight up with Canelo. I just don't hear it, man.
Yeah, well, just to clarify that he's franchise belt, which means that's why he was able to fight Kovalev at 175, his first fight. He can move up and down weight classes and get the fight. You know what I'm saying? So even though he got championships there at 160, like he can move up and down from 168 to 175. You know, but if he feels more comfortable at 168 and he wants to get a championship there, I mean, you know, he's the cash cow. You know what I mean? You got to move up to him because, you know, right now he's making international money with Callum Smith. You know, that's going to be a big money fight. Not here, probably like Jamal Charlo versus Canelo at 160, but it's going to make more money probably internationally because we're going to get that fight overseas. They're going to make money over there for him. We're going to make money over here for him. You know what I'm saying? And that's all he's worried about right now. He's trying to make smart moves, but still build legacy.
And that's a good point. But regardless if he fights Callum Smith for the international money, he's still been on a larger platform than Charlo, period.
Right.
As if fans are butts about it. I mean, he's been on larger platforms and bigger fights than Charlo. So Charlo indeed needs to kind of, you know, if he wants to fight, move up to 168 like you suggested that you can do. And make the fight. People would tune in for that fight with Canelo versus Jamal Charlo.
I would hype that shit up myself. If he moved up, I'd be like, okay, he's hungry. He's really calling him out now. He moved up just for him. Shit, you know what I'm saying? That would make everybody like, oh, damn, yo, Charlo's really about it. He's really trying to fight Canelo, you know? And then it's going to be hard for Canelo to duck him there because, you know what I mean? At that point, if he doesn't fight him and he's at the weight division that Canelo says he's comfortable in, then now you could say that he's ducking Charlo. You know what I mean?
I hope he does move up. I hope he does move up because he needs a name like Canelo on his resume. Absolutely. That'll be a damn good name on his resume to fight.
Mm-hmm.
King Miss say, I'm cool with Charlo moving up. Canelo is franchise at 160. So well, I like to see the place. I read that Canelo knock is tested positive, which turned fans against him. Canelo did test positive, but at this point, I think a lot of his fans have moved past the point he tested for clenbuterol, you know, heading into the freaking Gennady Golovkin rematch. I think a lot of people put that to the side because he performed damn good after coming off his suspension against Gennady Golovkin in that second fight. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I would be remiss to say, I think somewhere up the line, man, when Gennady is around 41 years old, that they're going to fight the trilogy. You know what I'm saying? Because Gennady is getting older, dog. And he wants that trilogy with Canelo. But it's not a priority for Canelo to fight the old man right now.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned that Triple G's career is based on Canelo, but Canelo's isn't based on Triple G.
That's true.
You know That's true. That was a smart analogy. But when it comes to what do you call it? My bad, I just got a missed call. What do you call it? When it comes to the fight or the clenbuterol, I'm sorry, the clenbuterol. You know, just to clarify on that as well. And I'm not trying to make any excuses, but the amount was so low that they said that literally there was no way that it would enhance your performance. So even though they gave him a suspension because they had to live up to their rules, and he did break the rule at that point, they gave him the suspension, but they changed the levels of what's allowed and what's not allowed because there was no way that would be, something that would enhance your performance. So we got to understand that too, because like every other sport, boxing also understands when it's wrong and it improves. You know what I'm saying? Like every sport improves. You know, look at football, always changing, rules every single year. You know, basketball, same thing, changing rules every year. You know, so I mean, we got to understand that too. I know. It's still like something that's a mark on his resume. You know, everybody's always going to bring that up. You know, but at the end of the day, it was so low based on science, the same science that banned it in the first place. They said that wouldn't have been able to enhance his performance. we're going to still put him on suspension because he broke the rule, but we're also going to improve this particular policy. And that's
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Major Key. And people still gonna look at it as like he wasn't.
You hear me, bro?
100% vindicated. You know what I'm saying?
You sound like you broke up, bro. Oh, that's me because I got a missed call, bro. Let me time off and time back in, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad, bro. It was good. What were you saying?
Yeah, people may look at the Canelo testing positive for clenbuterol as if he wasn't 100% vindicated, because he still had to face a retroactive suspension, heading into that second fight. So I understand where you're from, and that is true to it. But you know how boxing fans, they always going to bring in the clenbuterol, but they're not going to break down the details like you just mentioned about the levels for which they a lot of people, when they hear PEDs, they think of, oh, no, it's going to give you some type of advantage, period. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to break it down as much to say, you know what, it really wasn't something that allowed him to have the advantage heading into that Triple G rematch.
I know, and that's why I had to say it because you damn right. I know that the casuals are just going to say, hey, you know what? He tested positive, period. He was suspended, and that is on the records. And I get it. But you got to understand the details to everything. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say, it's all black and white. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there's a little gray area that you may not understand, but that's why they change rules and stuff like that and improve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Ken made a good point. He said, Major Key, you are right, but the casuals just heard he tested positive. That's right. The casuals, when they hear, okay, he tested positive, oh, shoot, he'll cheat. You know what I'm saying? But they're not going to read into the fine details if they don't have any type of interest in finding out the deeper truth. Mitch said, could have been phasing off. You're right. He could have been cycling off. You're right. You're absolutely right. He could have been cycling off, man. Who knows? Everybody ain't stupid like Big Baby walking around red hot. Big Baby was walking around motherfucking with a damn shirt that said, I'm on PEDs, goddammit. Shit. Big Baby wasn't caring about nothing. He was on like three different types of PEDs. He didn't care.
Hell no. But yeah, man, yo, I'm gonna chime off because my battery's running low. But listen, that shit was funny as hell. What you said the other day on Punch Drunk with that dude that was whispering. I think it was MMA champ, and you said, hey Punch, he sounded like he was under the stairs. Like, hey Punch, I'm over here under the stairs. I was cracking my ass up, man. I was like, yo, this dude crazy.
Yeah, that dude's a troll, man. I don't know. He has interest in showing up. He's an absolute troll, man, for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I've actually, that's how Punch knows that he's like 13 years old. Like, I don't know how people be saying he's like 15 or 16, but he was just 12, like when I first heard of him like 9 months ago. You know what I'm saying? He was like 12 back then, so I don't know how he got 16 in just a couple months. But yeah, he's always been quiet like that. Like he's trying to hide from his parents or something.
Yeah, he is, man. He's trolling and hiding from his parents. That's why he be trolling stations and stuff like that. His parents don't know what he got going on, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he don't have permission to be online like that all the time. It seems like he's in the closet somewhere. But I ain't gonna give him too much shine, man. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say one last thing. Like one time I was talking to the other trolls, right? And they were talking about straps and shit. I told them, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got a strap over here myself. You know what I'm saying? I live in Florida, man. This is stand your ground state. You know what I mean? Like, everything's legal over here. And then he whispered, he was like, we got straps over here too. And I was like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Get out of here, bro. Man, what the fuck you talking about?
Over here too. But anywho, man, yo, you enjoy the rest of your Thursday, brother. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna stay back in the chat and listen, bro.
All right, same to you, Glenn, man. Salute for dropping through, man. Major Key Boxing in the building.
No doubt, brother.
Well, that's where we at. Let me see. I totally agree, with what you said, Mitch, man. He could have been cycling off, bro. You never know. But the fact still remains. I got respect for Canelo, man. What he's been able to accomplish in boxing. So when it boils down to his next fight and who's next after that, I definitely want to see him fight a name like Charlo. It's just disappointing that he was promoted the franchise, right? But yeah, he hasn't did anything with it at the 160. He hasn't did anything with it. I'm still waiting. Everybody's waiting. Like, when is he gonna fight the guy who got promoted, who was promoted? There's the same thing happened with the lightweight division. Vasily Lomachenko was promoted, but he didn't fight. He didn't fight the guy who picked up the WBC super title. He didn't even give it any attention. The only attention he was given was when he faced Teofimo Lopez. So we're trying to wait and see what Canelo does with this franchise instead of moving up and down the elevator and facing these fighters. Period. You know what I'm saying? I was there that day. Yeah, man, that dude, I can't give him too much because, he's a little young puppy, man. Just be popping up, whispering and shit, man. Come on. If you whispering that low, that means you're either in the closet, under the stairwell, freaking goddamn under the sheets. You're somewhere where you're trying to keep it real nice and quiet so they don't know you up here trying to hang with the big dogs. You're trying to hang with adults. That's probably what he has going on. I don't have no problem talking boxing and MMA with him, but when I invited him to talk mixed martial arts, he was trolling and shit. And he even called me, he even came over here dropping the N-word and running. I said, don't run. Don't run, little youngster. Stay in the yard, talk. Don't run. But people, I appreciate everybody for stopping through. Hit the like button, man. I've been on here long enough right now. Of course, I do have to jump on here and talk some mixed martial arts that's coming up. I've been chilling on that for a minute because I'm trying to wait to a potential fight take place. But yeah, big news coming from that way. And this is what I'll say about that too, dealing with Bob Arum. It is partially talking about boxing. I don't know if y'all heard Dana White, man, but Dana White was basically going in on Bob Arum, called him a piece of effing shit. He was being very disrespectful to Bob Arum. And that's been going on for quite some time. But also, you look at Bob Arum, he was extremely disrespectful to Al Heyman. He called him a cancer to the sport and everything. So this happens with the big dogs that's running these promotions. This happens. And it's going to be no different with Dana White, especially with him trying to transfer this his presence over to the boxing ranks, like Zuffa Promotions. They're trying to bleed over into boxing. So, you have the girls that's coming up, Carissa Shields and Raquel Miller versus Hannah Gabriel. They have this fight card with the female boxers on there. So they're starting kind of slow and expect Zuffa Promotions, to go over here and try to bleed over to boxing. Now, I can't tell you how exciting their matchups are going to be, but they're trying to expand. And I'm going to try to pull up the live when I did a live on the UFC on how they're branching out and how they're growing. The UFC is basically doing something boxing should have did a long time ago. But they can't do it because it's not a bottleneck. It's not a single entity as the president like it is the UFC when it comes to boxing. So the UFC is basically opening up training facilities where these fighters can eat, sleep, train, repeat. Boxing, you just go in the boxing gym. This is all up to the owner of the gyms. The UFC is basically opening up areas all around globally for these athletes to train in and growing the sport that way. I'm telling you, man, they're doing it the right way. And people need to start tuning in to mixed martial arts, not just the UFC, to Bellator also. But it's commendable what the UFC has been able to do with expanding these training facilities all over. You have UFC training facilities. Boxing has been around long enough, and you cannot pick out gyms globally that is beneath the umbra that represents boxing. Like, they have individual ownership, of course, but you can just go in there and get the sparring in, train, and then you leave and go. I don't see too many boxing gyms where you can just go in there and train. And another thing with the UFC is that, if I'm not mistaken, they have boxing coaches in these facilities too. So their mixed martial artists can train. You know, they have doctors on site, I believe, but they can go in there and train on their layers of mixed martial arts, the certain disciplines. They also have boxing coaches that come in there and train internal to that facility also. So it's good all the way around, man. Y'all should keep your eyes open for that. Really, they're making big moves over there, man. I did a live on this a while ago, several months ago, on how the UFC is expanding, and their growth is just unfreaking believable. And boxing should have did this long time ago. So Major Key Boxing, salute these fighters that chime in. Love these platforms are doing. Keep this amazing. I'm waiting on that card to see how the promotion is handling it. Here's my vid from last night. Okay, I'll check that out, man. I'll check that out. The all women card. Yeah, they have an all women card, man. You know, Carissa Shield is fighting Dakari. She's like 17-0, 0 knockouts. That's gonna be interesting, and it's for all the crowns too. So this will be another division that Carissa Shield potentially will unify and further establish her legacy. Now, the one question mark for me when it comes to Carissa Shields, I think, is what she's accomplished in boxing. And she's already a Hall of Famer and attached that double gold medal Olympian standard to her career. She should potentially try to take a leave of absence from boxing, train mixed martial arts, and try to venture over like fighters like Amanda Serrano, Heather Hardy. You know, they've basically cross-threaded mixed martial arts and boxing. So maybe Carissa Shield, in order to improve upon her combat credentials, move over there to mixed martial arts, because she has a big name. And I think more people will come out. Look, know that I said it. I believe more people will come out and see her when she crosses over the mixed martial arts than even in boxing. Seriously, because she's a boxer that's crossing over with a big name. She's undefeated. She's been able to hit the top of the freaking levels, the top of the ladder when it comes to doing to earning 10 victories with 0 defeats quicker than any man or woman. You know, with a 3-division champion, rather, as a 3-division champion. So she's did it quicker than any other athlete that's competing in boxing. So with that, she's going to carry that momentum over to mixed martial arts if she chooses to do so. But she needs to start working on her ground game. She needs to put in some mat time, of course, because the one thing they're going to go for, like they went, I heard this on another channel. I'm not even going to mention the channel's name. But this particular person, you know, I didn't want to even chime in on the link and tell him, but he believes that boxing got a big name when Ronda Rousey called out Floyd Mayweather, which is far from the truth. You know, James Toney went over and fought Randy Couture long before that. You know what I'm saying? And also you had Ray Mercer, who had released himself and started training mixed martial arts. He went in there and faced Tim Sylvia and knocked him out. So it's been momentum from boxing to MMA long before Ronda Rousey was talking trash about Floyd Mayweather. But she didn't even benefit from it. And just imagine if they would have had a co-ed type match exhibition with Ronda Rousey and Floyd Mayweather. He would have humiliated Ronda Rousey. She had some of the worst boxing skills in mixed martial arts. It just took a matter of time for it to be exposed with a previous 18-time world champion, Holly Holmes. She exposed Ronda Rousey with the slipping of the punches, head movement, her combinations, she set that up beautifully. Absolutely. So boxing plays a major role in mixed martial arts, but also if Carissa Shields is going to transfer over, she needs to work on her takedown defense. She needs to basically say, okay, let me exhale. Let me find a good jiu-jitsu school. Let me work on my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu because I already know how to box. And being that she's not a power puncher, she needs to work on her Muay Thai. If she's able to just take some time off and start working on her freaking Muay Thai, working on her combination kicks, working on putting on that quality mat time with a legitimate professor, then she may do fairly well over there with her name. Put her in there with an opponent that's not strictly a jiu-jitsu fighter, that's more so stand up, get her a couple of wins on her resume over there jiu-jitsu. I mean, over mixed martial arts. They're gonna pay to come see her. She may be able to get some soft touches in mixed martial arts to get a big fight over there with a pretty decent name. But she really need to, commit to working on her Muay Thai skills, which include punching, kicking, and put in the mat time. The mat time is something that may bother Carissa Shields. The mat time. Being on the mat and working from bottom control and top control is something that she would have to just say, okay, this is what I'm willing to do. I'm going to be on my back and I'm going to have individuals that's younger than me that I have to work with. And she may not feel comfortable with that because that's what happened in jiu-jitsu. You can get somebody who's younger than you that may be a higher belt and they're over there dogging you. You know what I'm saying? But you learn from that shit. Carissa, I don't know if her mentality is like that. So that may prohibit her from excelling in mixed martial arts. Because in order for you to even establish remotely a solid name as a boxer crossing over, you need to work on your ground game, period. Because nobody wants to see the James Toney Randy Couture. They don't want to, a wrestler like Randy Couture, they already knew that he was going to shoot in and take James Toney down. And he did. And he played around with him until he started landing some pretty significant, effective punches and the referee stopped the fight. We don't want to see that no more. Especially with the women. Amanda Serrano may be a 7-division world champion in boxing, but her mixed martial arts game is pretty marginal when it comes down to it. When it comes to Heather Hardy, I give Heather Hardy all the respect in the world, man. All the respect. But she also has a pretty marginal mixed martial art game. Not to take away from her toughness, because she got her nose obliterated and she still wanted to fight in mixed martial arts. Shin to nose kick, and she was still fighting. So I got mad respect for Heather Hardy, man. Mad respect for both her and Amanda Serrano. But if Carissa Shields is going to build up a popularity outside of boxing, do what Holly Holmes did. Holly Holmes got into kickboxing, you know what I'm saying? She took her time. And then with kickboxing, she went over to mixed martial arts. It's all about how fast and how committed Carissa Shields want to stay in the game. Mitch say Holly Holmes ended Ronda Rousey's. He ended Ronda Rousey. Well, she ended Ronda Rousey. I would say 85%. She ended because she did come back. All right. She returned out of seclusion. You know what I'm saying? From being head kick knocked out. I mean, it was a head kick heard all around the world, right? She came out of seclusion against the better judgment, and she faced one of the killers, the lioness herself, in Amanda Nunes. And Amanda Nunes beat the brakes off of Ronda Rousey. Like, Holly Holmes made Ronda Rousey look amateurish. You know what I'm saying? Look like a tyro. But what Amanda Nunes did was beat the brakes off Ronda Rousey. Amanda Nunes beat the brakes off, and it was hurtful to watch. After all the times I seen Ronda Rousey get in close and implement her judo, right? It was against opponents that was somewhat intimidated, that didn't have strong hips. I give Miesha Tate all the credit in the world for being able to have a little bit of success with Ronda Rousey. But when Ronda Rousey stepped in there with a previous boxer, I knew Holly Holmes' boxing was gonna play a significant role in there against Ronda Rousey. Because why? She always tried to get in close, to touch. She just want to lock up. She want to get in the clinch. But if you do that with a boxer that is pretty damn skilled at mixed martial arts and has strong hips like Holly Holmes, you're gonna have problems. And once she was able to close and get the clinch, and she found out she couldn't execute her judo throw with Holly Holmes, and Holly was a little bit stronger than what she thought, she lost confidence right there. She said, oh shit, I wasn't able to get the throw. I wasn't able to put it on the canvas like I wanted. And then she had to deal with Holly Holmes boxing, which was a problem, an absolute problem. It was a terror. Ronda Rousey, the look she had on her face, she's like, oh my God, I cannot outbox an 18-time world champion. Guess what? I'm going to try whatever. And we all know Ronda Rousey didn't utilize her kicks that much. She focused on her grappling game, her ground and pound. But how, if you can't get your opponent down to the damn mat, you in deep shit. And that kind of ended Ronda Rousey's. I mean, I'm talking about her confidence level just was shattered. She never could repair that shit, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Kudos to Holly Holmes for being the one to get it done. I would have liked for my girl, Christine Cyborg, to have the shot, but there's no way that she could have made 135. She damn near died trying to make 140. But due to Ronda Rousey not wanting to move up to 140 and challenge herself at a catch weight, and plus Dana White was protecting her. You know, Dana White really didn't like freaking Cyborg, so he was protecting the female that he allowed to be the face of the women's division. Ronda Rousey was the face, y'all, and Dana White knew that shit. So of course he wasn't going to really push for Cyborg to fight, for Ronda Rousey to fight Cyborg at 140. So she stayed at bantamweight until she ran into Holly Holmes, and Holly Holmes stopped the hype train. I thought Miesha Tate was going to do it, but she just didn't have enough. Holly Holmes got it done, and the rest is history. But when she came back out of seclusion from that beating, and she stepped in there with Amanda Nunes, and she still had that damn mean look on her face at the weigh-in, wasn't too many people buying it like she used to when she was facing off. And plus, Ronda Rousey wasn't the nicest person. She like treated Miesha Tate like crap. Ultimately, my entire disappointment was Liz Camooch, who opened up the bantamweight women's division, and she had Ronda Rousey. She had her back. She was so close from finishing. All she had to do was just pull her hips forward and attempt to get Ronda Rousey to fall backwards and sink in that that RNC a lot deeper. And she potentially, if she would have put a body lock on Ronda Rousey, once they hit the ground, potentially she would have got the sub. She would have subbed out Ronda Rousey in the first fight of Ronda Rousey's 35 division campaign. Liz Camooch would have changed her entire career if she would have subbed out Ronda Rousey that night, and it didn't happen. Since then, she's been floating around. But if Liz Camooch would have defeated Ronda Rousey that night with that RNC, if she was able to, push her waist forward and build that momentum for Ronda to fall backwards, and once they hit the ground, put in a body lock, a body triangle, and sink in that choke deeper, I don't think Ronda would have got out of it. I think she would have got subbed. But she was able to, manipulate the feet, throw Kamoosh to the ground, and the rest is history. She did her GMP, and she was able to get the finish. But anyway, that's all I got to say on that, man. Don't get me to talking about mixed martial arts for real. Nunez finished her though. Yeah, she beat the brakes off her, man. Serious. Nunez beat the brakes off Ronda Rousey. I actually felt compassion the way Ronda Rousey looked. She looked like a little baby. I actually wanted to go give her a hug. I really wanted to give Ronda Rousey a hug when she got the brakes beat off her by Nunez. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she got the freaking brakes. She shouldn't have been in there with Nunez. She had to come back out of seclusion because whoever was in charge, I think Dana White paid Ronda Rousey nicely for her to come out of retirement and face a beast, a lioness like Amanda Nunez. He paid her very well. Very well. So Ronda said, what the hell? I think I'm good. Travis was like, baby, you sure you want to take this fight? Because, I want us to be able to carry on a dialogue. I think Amanda may do you some serious harm, baby. Be very careful about going in there. I got it. I'm Olympic silver medalist. I got it. What can she do to me? Beat the brakes off your ass. That's what she can do. But I really hope that Ronda Rousey never comes back to mixed martial arts. She seems to be enjoying her life. Her and Travis Brown. They have a farm and all that. So please don't come back. You know what would be good though? That'll be a good fight for Clarissa Shields. Ronda Rousey. If Ronda Rousey chooses to ever come back to the sport against a top name, I'm talking about a top name in boxing, but just to get a little bit of airplay, that'd be a good opponent for Clarissa Shields. But Clarissa, once again, will have to work on her takedown defense against Ronda Rousey. But if you're talking about big names, promo, Ronda Rousey versus Clarissa Shields. Hell yeah, people tune in for that shit. I still think Clarissa get washed because the first thing Ronda Rousey is going to do, Ronda Rousey's mentality is if she know you only got 2 knockouts in boxing, she's not worried about you putting hands on her, right? Ronda Rousey's going to play around. She's going to get in close, change levels, get in deep on the hips, take her down, and then she's going to do what she do. She's going to do what naturally works for her. And that is landing punches from the top position and working for an armbar submission. And that's what Ronda Rousey does. You know what I'm saying? B-Man, what is good? What is good with you, man? For me, Clarissa better stay in that boxing ring. But look at it this way, Ken. Being that Clarissa Shields is so young in the sport and has accomplished so much in such an expedited, all around boxing package right now. She's wrapped it up real nice. She's a Hall of Famer if she quits boxing right now. And for what I understand, she's trying to make a fight with Layla Ali. Okay. They're trying to make the fight. And look, for her to be trying to get paid the most says a lot about women's boxing. She's trying to pick up the heaviest paycheck against a fighter that's been out the ring as long as Layla Ali. Because Layla Ali was asking minimally $5 million. Minimally to face Clarissa Shields. Minimal. She said, I got my business going on. In order for you to appease me, minimal $5 million. Because I have to get back in training. I have to go through the transformation, the conditioning, the training regimes. I have to get my body back conditioned to step in the ring. And then, of course, the fight for Layla Ali to drop weight, it's not going to be below 68. Layla Ali is thick. It's not going to be below 668. So she's going to be fighting at a heavier weight class against Clarissa Shields. So I say this. If Carissa Shields is trying to hunt down an old horse, well, why not try to go over into a different pasture and see what's going on in mixed martial arts? You know what I'm saying? They say the grass is green on the other side. See how green it is, goddammit. You're young. Carissa is super young. Take some time off from boxing. You've accomplished damn near. You got a fight coming up with Dakari. You're going to defeat Dakari, period. And unify another division. So take some time off, get on the mat, and become a dual sport athlete. People do it all the time. People do it all the time, man. It's not like it's big names waiting on you. If you're able to get a fight with Layla Ali, cool. Get a fight with Layla Ali, get that big paycheck. But after that, you need to start training in mixed martial arts, man, and venture off into a secondary sport and see how you fare, man. Because if I would have to assume with Carissa Shields, she's not going to appreciate being on her back. She's not going to appreciate it. And for a person that loves being on her feet, being in control of a situation, I'm telling you, once she step on the jiu-jitsu mat, I'll take that back. There's no such thing as a jiu-jitsu mat. Once she has to put in mat time and practice her jiu-jitsu and have to work out of the worst positions to learn, I don't think she's going to like that. Because she may have a teenager that's 13 years old that's controlling her on the ground. And she's like, what the fuck? How can this 13-year-old be controlling me? That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. That's why I love the art that I call the Muddy Flats. It is a beautiful art because you can have teenagers. You can have youth. You can have individuals that take up jiu-jitsu that basically would take down a boxer easily and make them feel like they never took up a combat sport. The wrist control, the point of contacts, demarcation lines, the control points. I just don't think Carissa would appreciate that too much, being that she's a multi-time world champion, but she cannot get off her back from a 13-year-old being on top of her, working her over, and she's trying her best to get back to her feet, and she can't. When you're on the mat and you're being controlled by individuals that totally understand what they're doing, when your joints come into play, when your wrists come into play, when that person is using 100% of their body to control someone who is used to being on their feet and throwing punches to disrupt the rhythm of their opponent, when they're placed in a position on the mat, it becomes a problem mentally. Believe that. And that's a big issue that I believe Carissa Shields will have to grow out of the wrong way. Like, I think she would take it the absolute wrong way, and she may not grasp how this is possible. If I'm on my feet, if I'm punching this 13-year-old, I'm good. But this 13-year-old on in a jiu-jitsu school, putting in mat time, and you can't throw punches, even if Carissa Shields was staying on her bicycle and using her boxing footwork, it's only a matter of time before they grab hold of her, and the rest is history. She can get taken down and start frailing and say, "Get the fuck off me." It's not going to work, because while she's focusing on her emotions, they're focusing on technique and the system for which they've been taught. You know what I'm saying? Shields need to run it up in boxing, collect every belt she can, and make the biggest fight she can. She has to jump weight classes frequently to make it happen. You know, the only problem about her jumping weight classes is the competition. The competition is very dense for Carissa Shields to just sit up here and say, let me go. Okay, just say, for instance, she's able to do that. The names that's on her resume is not going to register Like, it's just not that. It's not that much depth to the women's boxing to do that. Look at Cecilia Braekhus. It would have been good for Carissa Shields. She said she wanted to face Cecilia Braekhus, but Braekhus wasn't trying to face Shields, and now she's lost her collection. She just can't move up like the fellas. It's not that competition is there, man. It's you have more females jumping in mixed martial arts that's credible and have legitimate names to their brand rather than boxing. Period. You have more females taking on mixed martial arts than they are boxing. Well, that's a solid point, though, man. But to say Carissa Shields need to stay in boxing, I can get what some people saying she need to, but what is she going to do if that's her livelihood, right? That's how she make her living. Why not take time off and cross-thread combat sports? Because it's only so much she's going to get paid. Just say she steps in there with Layla Ali and she wins. Let's just say she wins, right? People are going to say, okay, Layla was out of the sport for this amount of years. Okay, you're supposed to go in there. You're the younger lion in the fight. Good, you did what you're supposed to. But what's next? How does she continue to boost her brand? How does she continue to build upon that? What names are going to equal Layla Ali? They're just not there in boxing. You know what I'm saying? They're just not there, man. It's a problem. If you take the women's division and compare them to the women's division in mixed martial arts, the depth, in my opinion, even though the women's division in mixed martial arts go from strawweight up to featherweight, those Carissa Shields, if you're talking about the UFC, she hasn't even fought down that light. You know what I'm saying? So they will have to make a weight class. She will have to go somewhere where they have a weight class for her because she hasn't even fought that light. If she's talking about going to the featherweight division, which is 145, that's a lot of weight she's going to have to lose. People not taking that in consideration either. And Dana White is not going to make a division strictly for Carissa Shields because she's boxing at a heavier weight. He's going to tell her, okay, you want to come over here? I may give you a catch weight the first fight. All right. Just to get your name out here. I give you a 150 catch weight. But after that, you're going to have to then drop down to 145 and fight some of the ladies that's in 145. And right now, with the names that's considered soft touches in mixed martial arts, will still destroy Carissa Shields because obviously she don't have any type of experience with mixed martial arts. But that's all I got on that, people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can go on and on when I'm comparing mixed martial arts to boxing. They both legitimate combat sports, man. They have their pluses and minuses. But it would be good if some athletes that get it done pretty early in their career, if they had the courage to say, you know what, let me take off the sport. I did a lot early. Let me take off the sport, put on a gi, and go practice mixed martial arts. Let me switch it up. Because believe me, when you do that, that boxer is going to learn different type of footwork. They're going to learn if they wasn't boxing on the inside as a boxer, they're going to learn that plays a significant role on how to handle yourself. You know, the different angles that you can take in mixed martial arts that would assist you in boxing. It's many ways, man. You know what I'm saying? It's many different things. I know fighters on the regional level that box and compete in mixed martial arts, and you can tell how they act when they're boxing on the inside. They can tell how they control their opponent on the inside. So yeah. But salute to everybody who tuned in as always. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Till next time, you know what it is.